And now, from the bowels of the internet, it's the Hate-Bit Podcast.
Hater Nation, the Hate-Bit Podcast is on the air. I am Yell Chaos. Joining me as always, Alpha Omega Sin.
80s action movies are the best. There's no denying that.
Kung Fu Grip Sainted Magnus.
Hello.
And the Destroyer of Senses as well as buttocks, Razor Fist.
Go ahead. I don't shop here.
And welcome to our show. We're happy you're here with us. You know what?
No.
Quite displeased.
You know what? I might have to agree with him, actually. You know what? We're going to open it up right now with a great big discussion. I don't know how great big it'll be, but we're going to do it anyway. Alpha Omega Sin was very insistent upon it, so we're going to go ahead with what we're calling the San Diego Comic-Con 2012 Damage Report. And Alpha Omega Sin is really excited about some games that were talked about, and he's going to tell you right now. Alpha Omega Sin.
Games and movies. Oh my gosh, yes. Comic-Con, it's a big fucking deal. And they showed off a Deadpool game. I talked about a long time ago on one random ass video. Yeah, in a super awesome galaxy too, of the potential of a Deadpool game. And Activision, which, you know, be it that it has to come from them, unfortunately, but this honestly looks like it could be really badass from the trailer that I saw, and I'm pretty happy because it's got all the tongue-in-cheek humor, over-the-top fucking gameplay, and yeah, I'm just happy about that. And I know a certain other individual. See, that certain other individual is right there.
Okay, I know I'm going to sound like a shrieking Daredevil fanboy, but
Yes,
that's
you
only
do.
because I fucking am. Marvel, I want you to listen up, okay? Listen close. Deadpool gets a game, but Daredevil gets one half-finished PS2 title that promptly gets goddamn canceled the moment it's in danger of actually being fucking released. Alright, that's fair. When they're thinking up characters to shoehorn into Marvel vs. Capcom 3, God, should we throw Daredevil in there? Nah, let's throw Deadpool in there. Sure, his comic sells exactly 12 copies every month. One to every member of the Casada family, but gosh, does he have funny clips. I mean, Deadpool? Seriously? Deadpool. What's the matter, assholes? Rocket Raccoon's day planner was filled, Marrow was on the rag, what the fuck? He's a Rob Liefeld character.
I have Rocket Raccoon #1 sitting across the room from me. Don't you dare bring Rocket Raccoon into this.
He's a Rob Liefeld character. He's a Paste Pot Pete, Jubilee, and Howard the Duck all need video games before bad 90s characters like Deadpool can stand in line. Oh, but Razorfist, he's so wry and he's so self-aware. He makes pop culture references. Like, I don't give a fuck how much. He breaks the fourth wall. Okay, let's pin a medal on his chest. Spider-Man breaks the fourth wall all the time, and he has the added benefit of not having been invented by Rob fucking Liefeld. The man who thinks people's biceps have biceps. All right, the man who couldn't draw a human foot with a fucking... He couldn't draw a foot with a lightbox, tracing paper, and written instructions.
You know, the fact that you're bringing up biceps on top of biceps, I think you're stepping on the toes of all the Popeye fans out there, and they're going to come gunning for you real soon. Yeah, dude, there's motherfucking spinach ready, and we got some Bluto fans out there who are just like, harumph, harumph.
I don't know. I think we've got 3 in this podcast already.
I know, right?
So I'm just throwing this out there.
We're spoiling their beards.
I'm just planting seeds here, all right? I'm planting seeds.
And
so
I
just
do have to
Wait till they
concur.
beat you with the trees.
I completely agree. Daredevil game would be fucking awesome because, quite frankly, if you have played I don't know, any open world game. Just imagine running around as fucking Daredevil. And if we're gonna do that, please also make it a Nightwing crossover. I don't know how the fuck you could do that legally, but just make it happen. And it has to be the great fuck off. We had talked about this earlier, where both of them are going to run around and try to fuck the most chicks and score the most points. Because
it'll be the game will be set entirely inside of a single bar. And they'll just be sitting there hitting on chicks all night. And at the end, you tally up who won, and congratulations, you win the game.
It's
Yeah, you
Leisure
win the
Suit
Facebook.
Superheroes, isn't it?
Yeah, achievement unlocked. You got the clap.
yeah,
Yay.
You got Super VD.
yeah, a mutant VD is nothing to fucking scoff at. You don't know what it could turn into or what kind of things it could actually give you the ability to do. If it gives you a fucking like lightsaber dick, then you pretty much won. If you got something bad, then whatever.
I don't know.
Makes
This
you
is
hot.
this is why I'm very. This is why in real life I'm very prude. All right. I don't want to wake up one morning and have an arc of blue electricity connecting my nipples.
No, you'd much rather have a nipple chain.
Or two other things.
Or two other things. Yes, Bruce on one side and Bob on the
Oh.
other.
Here, okay, while we're on the subject of Comic-Con, and besides the Deadpool game, I am excited about that. They also started showing off some other stuff, such as the fact that they're making another Godzilla movie.
Oh, God,
And-
no.
Hey, do not say that. Godzilla Final Wars was fucking amazing.
As long, no, I'm just
wait,
saying,
wait.
as long as it's
Wait,
not the
Toho making it?
1998 one that the Americans made.
That's the thing. That's the issue I was going to bring up right now. I was excited that they are making a Godzilla movie until I saw this has nothing to do with fucking Toho. Toho, for everybody out there,
Oh.
Toho is who made Godzilla. If Toho is not making Godzilla, it's bad. And I don't want to hear any of you motherfuckers type into fucking comment section with your fucking sausage fingers fucking stumping along, making your sense saying, well, that movie was good. No, it wasn't. It was a fucking train wreck.
It was
They call it
Matthew Broderick.
American Godzilla. That right there gives you a fucking indication that's a piece of shit.
Hold
Okay?
on.
I don't know. The name on the cover, Matthew Broderick, could have been a dead giveaway.
Priorities,
don't-
guys.
Oh, God. No, I forgot about that. Damn it.
He's not
Yeah,
been
did he
right since
fish?
Ferris Bueller's fucking day off.
You know, Glory. He was in Glory. Come on.
And War
That was
He
Games.
was in Glory. Well, that's a damn fine picture.
It is. Now, we have to keep our priorities straight, though, guys. Before we go any further, I think one of us has to go Godzilla! Godzilla! And Godzuki! Diddle-oo-loo.
There we go. You've just done it.
Had to be done.
I like that you put it in the that part genuinely made me happy because that shows you we are trying to be genuine and thorough whenever we're doing impressions of anything.
Yeah, and from now on, we cannot call him Godzilla. We have to refer to him only as Godzilla.
Somebody
Gosh,
turn
you're
off their
right.
cell phone. How dare you have your cell phone on during a podcast recording?
My cell phone's dead and I have no fucking friends, so it never rings.
Okay. No, that was me. Bitches be blowing up my phone. Sorry about that.
You fucking whore.
Hey. Don't be hating. That's just a day in the life, yo.
We are the We are the Hate-Bit podcast. We're allowed to
Let's
hate.
see.
No,
One
it's-
thing
it
I
makes
am
sense, Gary, actually.
That's true. That's very true.
One thing I'm super excited about, but also kind of saddened by, is they are going to be showing off trailers for Man of Steel during The Dark Knight Rises. The downside to this is that
Is that a
Batman.
Superman?
Well, honestly, I think it could potentially be good this time around. I don't want to think about the last one because that one was anyhow. But the downside to that is I won't get to see Batman on opening weekend probably at all because it was filmed here in Pittsburgh and people are going apeshit here to go see the movie and there's tickets selling online for a bunch of money here in Pittsburgh at least. So it kind of fucking sucks. I won't be able to see it, but hopefully Monday when people don't go see movies, I'll see it. But yeah, I'm pretty excited to see it. And people at Comic-Con have been, pretty much positive about the little mini trailer they got to see. So huzzah. And he'll actually be fighting super powered people and not just regular jackoffs with guns, boring the living shit out of us. So that right there just gives me some kind of glint of fucking hope. So hooray.
So, is there anything we can salvage from the San Diego Comic-Con this year that's actually worth
Yoshinori
mentioning?
Ono.
Well, hey, they're making an Ant-Man movie, and I never saw that one coming. So
Ant-Man.
paint me surprised.
It sounds like they're clawing for ideas now.
Well, at least they're not making. I mean, come on. At least there's not going to be a Daredevil game. At least they're making sure that's not going to happen.
Yeah, at least they're making sure
They've
that's
got their
never gonna
priorities
happen.
straight.
They're on the prowl.
Or if maybe they should reboot Daredevil and actually give him a fucking decent actor instead of Ben Affleck.
They are rebooting it. It's going to be based on one of the best Daredevil comics ever made, Born Again.
Ooh.
Frank Miller comic from the 80s. It's really, really good, but I don't know if the movie will be good. We'll see.
To be quite honest, anything Frank Miller's a win for me.
Yeah.
Well, it's the movie. Here's the thing. Daredevil comics are consistently better than Batman comics. But, so in my opinion, Daredevil deserves a movie as good or better than the Batman movies. But it's like Marvel doesn't have the confidence to do that. They tried to turn the first movie into like a Valentine's Day, go see it with your girlfriend kind of movie.
Mm.
And the theatrical version's pretty shit. The director's cut, on the other hand, is really good, but that's another story.
That is another story for another podcast. So, is there anything else we can talk about from Comic-Con, or is that pretty much it?
They celebrated 20 years of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and unveiled the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers box set, which had my fucking Stiffy all up in the air waving a flag of joy. So, yes, I'm glad to see that because I like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Everything after that, I didn't care that much about, but I like the original show, and that's pretty fucking cool that it's finally going to be out there for the masses to consume and get all nostalgic and fucking rub up against each other.
Yes, so I'll be saving up and buying a copy of that because I actually do like Power Rangers, and Razor Fist, I'm sure you have got an insult to throw at me. I can feel it in my bones.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Why now?
Would you... All right, well, let's put it this way. This is a kind of a nod to Silent Rob. Or Silent Bob, whatever we want to call him.
Silent Rob, not Bob.
We'll call him Silent Rob. Rob Bob. But anyway, would you rather me be a brony or a Power Rangers fan?
Ouch.
Yeah.
I don't know, dick in a vice or dick in a guillotine?
Well, I'd much rather be a Power Rangers fan than a brony, to be totally honest, because if you think about it, you don't watch US Power Rangers, watch Super Sentai. You will have more fun with that. Even though it's cheesy.
Sentai, huh?
Yeah.
Sentai. That doesn't sound right.
Okay, look,
That sounds
here.
like silly pornography.
I can
It's
defend it in one way.
It's one letter away. No, I know all about Sentai, folks.
Yeah.
I've been to...
It's a couple of
But-
letters away from hentai, don't you worry.
It is. But you know, you got to keep in mind, Sainted. He's jerked off a lot. He's into the self pleasure, and how into the self pleasure?
Well, he also likes to deal with a better class of people.
It's a good job I'm ambidextrous.
He was telling us before the podcast that he was treated for tennis elbow, but he's never even owned a racket. But hey, folks,
But-
Knows about
But
racket, let me tell you.
just going back to the whole Power Rangers thing before we start pulling
Talking
apart
about
my mind.
arm wrestling competitions.
Yes.
We get to the humorous portion of today's show.
Yeah.
I know.
I just want to recommend a couple of seasons of Power Rangers. I recommend Zeo, and I also recommend Time Force because they are awesome. There we go. Moving on.
Okay, look, I like bad acting and big rubber monster suits beating the shit out of each other and sparks shooting out of everything for no fucking reason to convey damage. That's a reason to fucking watch it. But yeah, that's everything I had to say about the Comic-Con because that's all I could remember off the top of my head. Hooray!
No, DarkStalkers. DarkStalkers.
Oh, yes,
Oh,
yes. I'm sorry. Here, this will actually lead into something, and our good friend Razorfist is going to talk about it because he was just like, you forgot, you fucking bonehead. And I was like, oh, yeah. So,
Yep.
yes, Razorfist.
Well, Razorfist is also the one that said he didn't give a fuck and then suddenly gave a fuck.
Yeah, I know.
I
Contradiction.
didn't say anything about giving a fuck.
Well, please continue.
Yeah. But yeah, so basically Yoshinori Ono showed up, which is amazing because we've heard for the past, month or so that Yoshinori Ono's been at death's door. He had some crazy, oriental illness. But anyways, when
Yeah, called
he
Closed Eyes.
What?
I'm joking.
Oh, bad form.
My goodness.
I'm joking. Oh, I'm
Sage
good
it.
though. I can be sharp when I want to be.
You sit down, man. They're gonna write letters,
I
and
guess
then
his
we'll be
one
off the
hood
air like
was-
Daniel Tosh.
Yeah, I
That's
guess his
okay.
wife
We'll be banned in North Korea.
There you go. There you go.
I
Anyway,
think we already are.
So
Yay!
he showed up. So he showed up Comic-Con, and he said, I normally take a show of hands to see who wants to see a new Darkstalkers, but this year I don't have to. And then he shot a wink to the crowd, and everybody, the room fell silent. They were like, "Oh shit." So when I heard this, I ripped my fucking trousers in excitement. But then I remembered like a little lecture Mr. Ono gave a few months before he decided to almost fucking die. And he basically said that whatever game he's working on next is going to run on Street Fighter 4's glacial fucking game engine. I guess because nobody had a frozen snail handy. But yeah, Yoshinori Ono is everything that's wrong with everything. So that's...
See, the thing that makes me sad is that I really like 2D sprite art, and especially after seeing games like Blaze Blue and Guilty Gear, I would want it to adapt that style because I think it would look fucking beautiful. I really don't like Street
gotta
Fighter
be
4's art
unique.
style.
That's the problem. Nothing that Capcom's made lately is unique. They all look the same. I mean, okay, Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is the same thing. It's just in high contrast.
Yes.
Fantastic. That's so much different looking than Street Fighter. It's in high contrast. That is the sole change between the two. They've got the same, ooh, look, brushstrokes on a screen. Folks, we've been dealing with this since, what, 2008, 2009?
Yeah, we've had it.
It's
It's Street Fighter
no
4.
longer original. Yeah, it's been going on a while. Let's come up with a new idea or three.
Well, it is nice that it's coming this far because I remember a while ago, some of the bigger folks at Capcom had went and dropped this little bomb. They were like, "Yeah, Darkstalkers, if you want that, we have a petition that you can sign, and it needs like 700,000 petition signs." And I was just like, "That's absurd." Like absolutely fucking out of hand asking for that many because it just blew my mind to think that they thought that little of the fan base and of the franchise over the years, even though they include all the characters and pretty much anything that they possibly can. That's a fucking Capcom universe style game. But yeah, hopefully we get this fucking game.
where is this fucking business ethic coming from? It's like, hey, you want us to make a game? Well, you better make us.
Yeah, it's like put a gun to our head. I mean, for a guy like Yoshinori Ono to somehow manage to make the Japanese industry look even worse in fucking 2012. Serious, you either have to be a necromancer or Yoshinori fucking Ono. There's no two ways about it. This guy, I can't stand how slow this game is. I ranted at length about this in my Street Fighter 4 review and my Super
Shameless
Street Fighter
plug.
review. But they're so slow. You play Street Fighter Alpha 3 and then play Street Fighter 4 back to back, and you're just like, what the fuck happened?
I agree. I totally agree because I play a lot of fighting games in terms of the 2D variety, and I do actually enjoy Super Street Fighter 4, but Alpha 3 is my favourite. I played that on the PlayStation 3 recently, and it was smooth. You know,
It's a great game.
it's a great game. It's got a great fighting system. It's got a great number of characters. It's pretty well balanced, and the World Tour mode is just fantastic. You put in Street Fighter 4 or Super Street Fighter 4 now, it is so much slower. It just feels slower. You try and do a hurricane kick with Ryu, for example. It just feels slower.
And it's down to Yoshinori Ono's basically admitted this in interviews. He wanted to reach that proverbial wider audience. And that's all there is to it. Oh, we don't want to alienate people by having the game too fast. It's like, well, since when do reflexes have anything to do with the size of your audience?
Beyond
like,
that, I've never heard a fighting game fan ever say, "Man, I enjoy the slower paced gameplay."
Well, I mean, you can enjoy more tactical gameplay, but you can do that without losing the speed. Street Fighter Alpha 3 is a very tactical game, but it's still very fast.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of games are that way. Capcom versus SNK 2 is a pretty fast game.
Yeah.
I
But-
totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like that's going to do it for the San Diego Comic-Con damage report.
Yeah.
And believe me, we feel very damaged.
Yes. My ear.
But anyway,
Trousers.
hopefully we'll have something nice to say about it next year. But did you notice that the coverage on Comic-Con was awe-inspiring? Was there nothing else going on this week anywhere in the world?
No, not really. It's summertime.
You could have killed the president of Nicaragua and never would be San Diego Comic-Con.
I'm getting tired of how San Diego Comic-Con isn't San Diego Comic-Con. It's like a big media festival now. It's like, hey,
that's
did you hear
all
about the movies announced at Comic-Con? It's like, what about the comics announced at Comic? Like, the comic book panels are smaller than the movie panels.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
yeah,
Like,
because it's
if you're like me and you're actually into comics and you go to Newsarama all the time, there's more coverage of the movies and video games than there is of the comic books.
Yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Well,
It's a big...
don't forget, it started back in the pages of Wizard Magazine a long time ago.
Yeah.
Well, that was a
Yeah.
long time ago.
That was a long time ago, so fuck those people, but they're long gone, so we don't care. Anyway, it's that time of the podcast where we're going to move right into the mailbag.
Placenta.
Placenta. If you have questions right for us in the female bag, you can drop us a line at hatebitpodcast@gmail.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. There's a link down there below. It's facebook.com/hatebitpodcast. And if you don't have a Facebook account, whatever. And also, even if you don't want to subscribe, just drop us a line down below. Hey, you guys are a bunch of fags. Whatever. No big deal. We will ignore you or kill you. So the choice is yours. Joseph Williams at gmail.com, and he says, let's get ready to hate. He says, I have a question, and then there's a question mark. So I don't know if he's asking already, but who knows? He says, me and my friend argue all the time about retro gaming. He says, quote, if you don't grow up with the games, you wouldn't like it. For example, his argument is if you take Mario Galaxy and put it next to Super Mario World in the 1990s, nobody would even touch Super Mario World. He says, I disagree with this because my favorite RPG is Persona 1, while his is Final Fantasy, who gives a shit. He then says, it quite literally says, who gives a shit. I'm not even covering that up. He then says, quote, if it was so good, Persona 1 would have sold like Final Fantasy. He then goes on to say, short of punching him in the face, I just thought it was dumb but interesting. I would like to
just
on retro
all you have to
games.
I'm sorry. Continue
said-
your story.
I would like to know your opinions on if retro games is truly good or is it just nostalgia goggles. Now, Razorfist, please go on.
Well, simply put, I mean, in that case, it's a very specific case. Final Fantasy, at least from Final Fantasy VII on, I've said it before, I'll say it 1,000 more times. Final Fantasy VII is not that good a fucking game. Okay, on its best possible day, it's really mediocre. But what it is, what it was in 1997 was a triumph of marketing. That's what it was. They ran these cinematic-looking TV advertisements where you thought it was a movie. You didn't think it was an advertisement for a video game. And they ran these things everywhere. And they ran them everywhere for like 3 months straight. I think they even had a trailer before a movie, as a matter of fact. If I remember correctly, they played a Final Fantasy VII trailer before a movie. And that was one of the big reasons people knew about it. It was a triumph of marketing. That's all it was. The game is not perfect. But as far as that goes, number one, Persona sucks. And number two, it's just... Role-playing games back in the day had a little thing called role-playing. And I'm not talking about the JRPG, basic glorified RTS games with the turn-based battle systems. I'm talking, games like Of Might and Magic and Daggerfall and things like that, where you actually get to create your character and roll fucking die, and it's like Dungeons and Dragons. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not nostalgia. It's just, if you want a role-playing game, you're going to have to go back in the day because there's no genuine role-playing games right now. There just aren't.
But would you agree that the games that we like from, way back when are only good because we remember them when they were new, or are they truly good games?
No, because a lot of these, I mean, we're still discovering, right? We're still going out. You guys have pickup videos every 5 fucking seconds. So, I mean, you're still going out and discovering old games. It's not really nostalgia at that point because they're as new to you as Max Payne 3. You know
Absolutely.
what I'm saying?
No, I can agree with that statement because I do actually buy a lot of old retro games. And to be quite honest, as a retro collector, there is a lot of people that go out and buy these games and they don't have a fucking clue what they're buying. But
yeah.
Well, there's also a good amount of people who dismiss it simply because it's old.
Exactly. But then there's people that just go out and buy that think it's worth a lot of money because it's old, and they could be selling about 15 copies of Madden on bloody Craigslist, for example. $200 each, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
Well, how did that become like a microcosm economy unto itself?
that's another thing. That's another discussion for another day, I'd suggest.
I imagine it is, but that's very interesting to me. What my overall take is: good games are good games, pure and simple.
To be
I'm going to tell you about an old game that has challenged the masses, both the intellectual and non-intellectual, since almost time immemorial. It's a game called chess.
Oh.
And it's an old game, but it's an amazing game.
Yeah, and for those people that were born post 1995, it's called a board game.
Basically, I wonder when
it's on a board with wooden pieces on the top, and they're called chess pieces.
Gosh, I wonder when Board James is going to cover that.
I don't know. He's covered all these other board games that we've never actually heard of.
He hasn't done Crossfire yet, though.
Wonder when he's going to get to the Ouija board. My question.
Probably the ghost.
Is he going to summon Owen Hart?
Oh.
Wait a minute, that's an idea. You know what? There might be a Hate-Bit podcast special where we summon Owen Hart.
Oh.
I think this episode's going to be called Owen Hart's Ghost. I think.
My Owen Hart's Ghost.
Anyway, that's so in my opinion, and I want to hear from Alpha Omegason, but my opinion is good games are good games.
Yeah.
Yes.
Alpha Omegason, what do you think, man?
I can give one little thing to everybody out there. If you really think that's just nostalgia goggles, I've presented tons of games to people younger than me, just saying, hey, check this out. And they fucking love the shit out of it. I've played games from before I was born and loved the shit out of them. And, Razorfist had talked about, we do pick up videos and everything, and we still go out and we find old games. I never played Shining Wisdom on the Saturn. I'm playing it right now. Game's fucking awesome. I just found a game called Bloody Wolf I was talking about before the podcast for TurboGrafx 16. The game's amazing. I never heard about it, never heard anybody talk about it. If you look at games based on when they came out or the fucking hardware that's on or bullshit like that, you're missing the point. It's entertainment. It's just meant to have fun and fucking amuse you. Same thing with movies. Are you going to not want to watch a movie because it's old? That wouldn't make any fucking sense. Same thing with music. Same thing with books. Get your fucking heads out of your asses if you actually have that kind of thought process that something is old and the only way you can like it is because you were alive back then. That's just idiotic.
That's a silly statement altogether, to be honest. It's like, I grew up with bloody Sega Mega Drive in my hand. You most likely grew up with a Super Nintendo or an NES controller in your hands. It's not the whole nostalgia thing. It's the fact that half the games that we loved, were what were given to us at that time. So now, as adults, we can find these games for cheap and try these games, and if we don't like them, we don't like them. If we like them, we'll keep them in our collections. But that's the way I see it.
You also have to consider the fact that video games are a product of the time in which they were developed.
Yes.
You know what I mean? They are. I will unequivocally state that older games are better than newer games, and it's a result of market forces. It's a result of industry trends, because in 1996, you could release a game that only sold 500,000 copies, and because developmental costs were so low, that was a success, and you could make a considerable profit off that. You can't do that anymore. So you have to appeal to the lowest common denominator, and that's how you end up with companies like EA and Activision, whose products appeal to the algae in the gene pool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, they went to the bottom of the barrel and found out if you lift up the barrel, that's the target audience.
What's odd about it, though, is that's one of the reasons why I've actually, really got into handheld gaming, is because on Game Boy Advance, on Nintendo DS, and on the PSP, there's tons of exclusive titles that appeal to me in a great big way that if you put on a console, wouldn't sell worth a shit, would have been way more expensive for them to have on the console and to develop, and would have been considered a fucking joke. And I think that's a damn shame. You shouldn't be looking at games because of what numbers it had. Just because units that it fucking sold doesn't make the game more fun. Doesn't it, you know? I've gone through this song and dance time and again, and I'll continue to do until I beat into somebody's fucking skull with my bare fucking fist. If you seriously, to fucking God, think that something is cool because everybody thinks it's awesome, you're an idiot. You're a flat out fucking idiot, because there's a bunch of popular shit that I can't stand whatsoever. And there's some unpopular shit I can't stand whatsoever either. It's just a matter of fucking taste. Fucking people, man.
You mean you don't like the Snuggie?
Yeah, dude, the Snuggie is ridiculous. That thing, every time I see it, I just assume that those people are naked under there, really sweaty, and smell like shit.
I call it it looks like a Jedi robe to me. Am I crazy?
Not whenever you see the ones with all those weird designs on them. It's like, this one looks like it's bricks.
Look how much more expensive it is than an ordinary blanket. It's like, they made a blanket and they cut a fucking hole in it, and you paid extra for a hole.
And sleeves. Don't forget that bit.
Dude, it's a fucking
I forgot about the sleeves model, yes.
Yeah.
It's
Anyway,
a soft teepee.
There is one thing I want to say about that, though.
Sleepover materials.
There is one thing I want to say about that Snuggie.
What's that?
If you stand up, you're gonna fall over.
What?
You can just imagine how many people have face planted the floor just by standing up with one of them things to answer the phone.
Imagine, right? Anyway, we got another piece of mail to go through here. This next piece comes to us on our Facebook page, and if I didn't, I'm pretty sure I plugged the Facebook already.
Yes,
I
you
had
have.
to clean it. So yeah, check us out there, and you can leave questions, and we can answer them, and we can totally ridicule you in front of all your friends. It's great.
And watch some Peter
This
Pans.
next piece comes. This next piece comes from Christian Ralph, who's a comment. Very often he provides us things, both in the network of hate and so on. And Christian says, "Hey guys," he puts a smiley face. He says, "What are your thoughts on the Tekken series? Do you like it or not? If so, who's your favorite character, and which Tekken is your favorite?" Sorry to ramble on you guys. He was mentioning Lost Odyssey a couple of podcasts back, and I decided to go and buy it. And fuck me, that game is amazing. I'd like to thank you guys for that. Keep it metal, and then he gives us the devil horns there. The Tekken series, what do we think? I like the first three, and that's kind of where I gave up.
Tekken's dead to me.
I would go Tekken 5, personally. I think that was kind of the last moment. 6 was ass.
You like 5.
5 is good. 5 is before 6.
Stopped being good at 3.
What?
It stopped being good at 3 as far as I'm concerned.
I strongly disagree. I think 5 was good. I think 5 combined what was good about the old games with a little bit more polish that the series did need at that point.
Because they gave you the 3 arcade games from the original, from the PlayStation 1 days.
Which was nice.
Which was a nice
it was
addition, don't get me wrong. But to be quite honest, Tekken 3 was basically the pinnacle for me. Can't top Tekken 2, though.
No, I don't really care for the older ones, actually. They're like a shittier version of Virtua Fighter, in my opinion. And Tekken, as the series went on, it got nice and polished. Then on Tekken 6, it polished itself right off a fucking cliff.
It was that slippy. It went wee.
Yeah.
Shine it up real nice. Turn that sumbitch sideways and stick it straight up your handy ass.
Yeah. But yeah,
Alpha Omegason, what do you think?
Tekken. I haven't really played much of Tekken since 5. Razor Fist actually just mentioned it. That was the last Tekken that I played. I've been looking at Tekken Tag Tournament too, which it looks interesting because I like Tekken Tag Tournament. It was also one of the only PlayStation 2 games I gave a shit about because they had a whopping like 4 or 5 when it launched. But it would. In general, I don't know, man. I haven't really been in fighting games as much as I used to because I don't really have too many people around my area that play them as much anymore. So I don't know. I might check out the new one. And also, favorite character, Brian Fury.
Yes, Brian.
Just throwing it out there.
I'll say my favorite is King, and I like the first 3 Tekkens very much, but I cannot stand to play a Tekken game in an arcade cabinet for some reason. Every time I've seen, I think Tekken 6 I saw in the arcade. And
I have good memories of that. I had a friend who was just a god at Tekken Tag Tournament.
Uh-huh.
And I would just sick him on people at the arcade. I'd be like, dude, go play Tekken Tag. And whoever was sitting there playing, he would just go there and jungle their ass, and he'd be running the machine then for the next, 3 hours, and it was godlike. But
I love how you could do that in arcade. Just like, yeah, I'm king shit. What?
exactly. That's something you can never duplicate with online. Or
Never,
the arcade.
never, ever.
It's why the arcade needs to not go away completely. That's why.
Well, we're working on it. We're working on it. There's a lot of people out there who are making great pains and doing whatever they can to make sure they don't go away.
And remember, there isn't no shit talk over a headset where you can go and run your mouth, because in person, you get your fucking ass beat properly.
Exactly.
That was the best part. Is like also don't forget, if a big guy started losing, he'd knock somebody out. But still, that's a win in one way or another.
I agree.
It just
figured-
pushes the fucking arcade cabinet onto the dude that's winning.
A
Fuck
victory
you.
is a victory, no matter how you slice it.
You try playing Tekken 3, pisses a fart in a bloody kebab shop, at 4 o'clock in the morning with every pissed and drunk person around you. That is an experience.
Anyway, good talk there. Good talk. Our next piece of mail was actually in the YouTube inbox, and if you have questions, drop it in the YouTube inbox. We read these too. This comes from me. Okay, I do. But anyway, if you want to talk to me,
No,
Fuck
see, exactly, right? Anyway, this comes from me, just being me one. He says, "Hello, Hate-Bit Podcast."
Hello.
Hi.
He said, he says, "I'll start by saying that this podcast is my favorite thing to listen to, and you guys are absolutely awesome."
Yay.
Yay.
He goes
We
on to
feel
say, "I
special
have
now.
a couple of questions for you guys, and here they are. Number one, what would you do to get good games the exposure they deserve? And number two, how would you get old games back on the market in an affordable and efficient manner? Keep up the good work." Bonus question, what is the nerdiest thing you own? I don't know. As far as getting good games the exposure they deserve, I don't know. We could always blow up the EA building. That would set them back a little while and free up the airways for some advertisement.
I think the best way to
Yeah.
get good video games, like advertising, honestly, is just word of
Increase
mouth.
advertising. Well, you know what? If you have a good fucking game, we might plug you. But since there's no fucking good games, why bother?
Exactly.
Hey, Rhythm Thief on the 3DS. That game's awesome. There you go.
You know what?
That's one.
That's funny. Saint Magnus and I were having a discussion. I am not impressed. I was playing the demo there, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. I put it this way. I'm a fan of
Heaven Michael Jackson experience.
and not the Moonwalker arcade machine or the Sega Genesis version.
Yeah. The version of Michael Jackson with a face so plastic his fucking forehead has an Xbox guide button. That guy. That guy.
Oh, God.
The guy who looks like Blade from Puppet Master.
Yes.
I like that little guy. He's so he's just chopping people's fucking feet apart and stabbing them in the face. It's adorable.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So
what would we
lovable.
do?
Oh yeah, so we're talking about games, how we would get them out there.
Or get them exposure so they would
Yeah.
sell.
I'll include them in every copy of Call of Duty.
Blow Bobby Kotick.
Oh,
Just that'd get it out there. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, I really think that one of the best things that they can do is really advertise it with commercials. You'd be surprised how many people you reach just with an idiotic commercial. And it's like, oh, I never even heard about that game. And then they go and pick it up just based off of a commercial alone. And earlier, Razorfist was talking about the monumental success that Final Fantasy VII had gotten, based purely off of advertising, which I can imagine a great deal of it was definitely attributed thanks to its really good advertising. It did help a lot, and a lot of games don't get that kind of advertising at all, especially when they seem like, this couldn't possibly sell over like 100 units or something. But if you give it a fucking shot, you really believe in the game, you know that it's a good game, it's just niche. I mean, give it a fucking go and see what the hell happens. I mean, the worst thing that'll happen is, I don't know, you lose out on a couple grand.
mm-hmm.
Well, I think with what games...
several million, but yeah.
Well, yes,
Hey,
I think
I'm just trying to be nice.
What
Yeah,
about
That's why
subliminal
games,
messaging?
unfortunately, that's why a lot of games like, Velvet Assassin or whatever, they don't get nice, flashy TV advertisements because it's smaller market games,
It wouldn't be a smaller market though if they go and advertise to a larger audience, because it's not like nobody will play these kind of games. It's just a matter of it getting out there for everybody to talk about and to see and everything. And it's like, oh yeah, I'm picking up the game. Oh, you are? What's that game about? Oh, that looks pretty fucking cool. I'll pick it up too, and shit like that. I mean, that's just me, though. That's also one of the reasons why I like talking about certain stuff on my YouTube channels, because somebody might not have heard about it. It's pretty fucking awesome, and somebody should check it out. That's just, I don't know. That's just me. I don't know.
Yeah, but just,
I heart niche games.
yeah, just to support your statement of what best way to get these games forward is word of mouth. You recently sent me High Velocity for the Sega Saturn. I've not tried it yet, but I'm looking forward to trying it. And the only reason I've not tried it is because I ain't got the cartridge. But that's a prime example. Is people just saying, well, here's the game, try that out.
Yeah. Well, and visual. There's a visual aspect to it as well. I mean, I know all kinds of games that were bought because they had an interesting, cover or an interesting like for example, how many people when they were little kids got suckered into buying that piece of shit Vortex for the Super Nintendo. Because it had this black cover and this the gold embossed logo Vortex, and then it's a Super FX chip enabled on the bottom, which you remembered from Star Fox. So and then you'd look at the back, and it was like you're looking at what looks like Star Fox, but with giant robots. And you're like, holy shit, this is going to be the greatest game ever, and that was not the case. But it was still, it still sold an awful lot of copies. You know what I mean?
The nice thing is nowadays somebody can just be like, "What is that?" So then they'll go on to something like YouTube. They'll type in whatever fucking game it is and pull up gameplay footage or a trailer or some shit and check it out that way. And I mean, just thinking about it, there's so many easy ways to go and promote your shit nowadays with the internet. I mean, you can make pages, you can make websites, you can make Facebook pages, you can make YouTube pages, just dedicated to one single game, and then tell people about it. And it basically will start cycling. Throw in fucking, I don't know, Twitter on top of that. And if the company's really behind it, they tell people, video game websites get a hold of it, and the message boards start blowing up about it. It's really easy advertising that costs almost nothing. I know that I was talking about commercials and everything, and that would be really cool because it's pretty much, the easiest form of fucking advertising. But this is advertising that's borderline free.
Well, also don't forget what you really could do. To put a television commercial on the TV to advertise your game, you're talking about a $1 million investment just to get through licensing fees and all the bullshit that's involved in getting on national television. Or you could take that same $1 million and pay, 100,000 users on YouTube to talk about your game, and you'd have much better results.
Agreed.
You would, but I mean that's something.
Because people who watch TV, what are you gonna put this on during? I don't know what television shows are on now, but you put it on during Desperate Housewives. You think those people care? No, go to where the people are.
Yeah. No, I can agree with that.
I think that the old tactics have kind of worn themselves out, and I don't know why that's such a fucking mystery.
And free shit. Free shit's another way of doing it.
Yeah. Giving out some free shit. In fact, take half of your initial investment and give out some free shit.
Oh, and how about this? A demo. For God's sake, always make a fucking demo available of your game, because
they don't do that anymore, do they? They just say, hey, we're making a game, fucking buy it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Dude, there's so many times I've gone online and I was just like, I wonder if they have a demo available of such and such game, and it's not there. I'm like, well, fuck all. If you had one there you go. That's an easy way for people to be able to check it out and be like, hey, this is pretty decent.
And there's the argument, well, we put out a trailer. It's like, well, that's good. Did you make a movie? No. Then it seems like we appear to be at an impasse.
Yeah.
Anyway, and before we go, what is the nerdiest thing we own? Alpha Omega Sin?
Of course, I'm first. If anybody remembers these from the 80s, they were called Pillow Pals.
Oh.
I own a Super Mario Pillow Pal.
That is borderline like insane / awesome.
Wait, hold on. And I have the Batman bed sheets.
Okay.
And he still
And here's the
uses them.
thing: there's definitely been a lot of baby gravy on those.
Oh.
Ew.
Hey, man, that kind of thing happens. Hey, it's either
That was a
on the
sarcastic
lady
joke.
or it's on the bed sheets. The bed sheets can get washed. The lady gets angry. So,
Well, apparently you got the wrong kind of lady, man.
well, it's you got to be nice about it sometimes.
Sounds like you got a lame bitch, man. I've seen movies. Chicks love that shit. They like rub it on themselves and so
Yeah,
on.
she's supposed to slurp that up like
Yeah, and then
Hey,
she-
on a
those
cow udder.
ladies get paid to do that, though.
I know. Well, dude, I mean, girls are stupid. You could make that happen. I believe in you.
You're gonna get a shot if you call them stupid,
Oh, well, I've already done it.
See, I think the problem is I
Can't
think
take
I'm
it
being
back
too-
now.
You could apologize.
I'm sorry. It's a force of habit.
Okay.
I mean, women keep being stupid, so I have to point it out.
Well, it's not our fault you're a sexist pig.
Yeah. Well, I got called a misogynist. I'm like, I'm not a misogynist. I'm a chauvinist.
The dumber people just assume you like giving massages.
Yes.
But I could go along with that. But if I say I'm a chauvinist, that means I drive a limo, right?
Yeah, exactly. A chauvinist.
No, it's a
Do you make
chauffeur.
good money doing that?
Oh wow!
I do.
You wear a black hat. Anyway, Sainted, what's the nerdiest thing you own?
Ooh, where do I start? Dragon Ball
Well,
Z
just give me one. Give me
figures,
one.
Dragon Ball Z DVDs,
Ugh.
Dragon Ball Z games.
Did you trip and fall into the year 1997?
I haven't finished yet. Sonic the Hedgehog plushies. I've got
What's your favorite nerdy thing?
my favorite nerdy thing.
Very favorite nerdy thing that you can see in the room right now.
My regurgitating Piccolo statue.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember that thing. That was really fucking cool looking.
I know it's awesome.
Fun little factoid. Piccolo's voice actor in Dragon Ball Z is also the voice of Alex Denton in Deus Ex Invisible War.
Yes, Christopher
little-
Sabat.
Now wrap your minds around that, folks.
Christopher Sabat pretty much does every voice for fucking Dragon Ball at the moment in Dragon Ball Z. What is
Yeah.
he? Yamcha, he's Piccolo, he's
Yeah, well, it sounds like he downed a 12-pack of Ambien in Deus Ex Invisible War. So.
Yeah. That's very true. Okay,
Well,
then,
Razorfist, what
Yoko.
do you own that's so
I was
nerdy?
going to say to you, Yoko, it's your turn.
Well, I want to hear Razorfist because he's a bit of here, just talking some bullshit. I want to see what's on his shelf.
Well, I'm not going to say anything that I own, but I do have something far more nerdy than anything that's just been itemized here, and I created it myself.
What's that?
The wall behind me and the domicile where I record my episodes. You see a lot of posters there. Well, those posters are covering up a massive Star Wars mural that I painted of a fucking X-wing shooting Vader's starfighter, and it glows in the dark, by the way.
You fucking
And
nerd.
there's a Death Star in the background and the planet Alderaan.
You're making it worse. You're making it
Wait, hold on.
worse.
Please at least tell me this. Okay, if I'm nailing bitches on fucking Batman sheets, please tell me you press some fucking titties up against the fucking Star Wars mural and fucking laid some wang on them.
Unfortunately, no. The posters are covering them up, so no.
This
Unfortunately.
is a Wang-free wall.
Okay, one day take down the posters and then do it, and then on a future episode of podcast, be like, so today, I was just banging slags on Star Wars. It was awesome. The mural was happy. I was happy. Vader, you could even tell under the mask he was happy. So it's all good. It's all good.
Hell yeah.
And
So yeah,
on that
that
note,
would be mine, definitely. And I have a lot of Star Wars collectibles because I'm a fucking nerd.
you're a
don't you
fucking
forget
nerd.
Yes.
Like the
Yeah.
I can quote all the Star Wars movies from beginning to end. I shit you not. I can. It's a little bit absurd.
Don't quote episode 1 and 2. Then
All
we'll
three.
be good.
all three.
I don't know. 3 was
Now
tolerable.
this is pod racing.
You fucker.
Oh god.
It was way too enthusiastic too. Like you reached the enthusiasm level max, and you were like, "No, we can climb higher." And you did. So yes.
What, Master Qui-Gon, you mentioned midi-chlorians. Me and the home viewing audience would like to know what they are.
Jesus fucking Christ, they explained the Force. Why the fuck would you ever fucking explain it? You're not supposed. There's
And
just.
if you were going to explain the Force, why would you characterize it as an infection?
It's the Force is kind of like an STD, but made of magic.
Well, you see, it's you know AIDS. It's basically space AIDS. It's gonna give you powers.
Oh, not the thermonuclear space AIDS. That's gonna make me levitate shit with my balls. Mom.
It's like sickle cell anemia, but with glitter on it. You know?
I can't believe they even had the audacity. I understand he is a fucking senile, fucking like lumbering retard, but what the
With
fuck?
16 chins.
No, just goddamn him. Goddamn. I'm so depressed now. We ought to call this the depressed fucking Star Wars podcast episode.
I know, right? Yeah.
Anyway.
We spent a lot of time in the mailbag. You know what? I'll tell you real quick before we
You're
get
nerdy.
going. My most nerdy thing that I got in here, and I don't know if it qualifies as nerdy, but I remember when I was a kid, there was a show called Biker Mice from Mars.
Oh, God, no.
Oh shit! Biker
And
mice from Mars.
I have-
Biker mice from Mars. Biker
Right
mice
here, I
from
keep
Mars.
a Biker Mice from Mars full graphic ball cap. It doesn't fit me. There's no reason to keep it, but it's just
Too
Shut-
cool.
Yep.
yeah, So that's what I got.
Fair enough.
Is it,
I
is
you
it
know, I could
totally
call it something
radical?
better. Huh?
Is it totally radical, tubular, gnarly?
It's like brand new, so yes.
Awesome.
All right.
I have to throw out everything I can.
Anyway, that's going to do it for this piece of the mailbag. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, anything, drop us a line at hatebitpodcast@gmail.com, leave us something at Facebook, or drop it in the inbox here on YouTube. And we thank you in advance. Anyway, we got something really big to talk about. It's on everybody's lips, and why shouldn't it be on ours? Just like your mother, on our lips is... That didn't work out at all.
That didn't
I was
come
gonna
out
say,
right
wait, so
whatsoever.
their mothers are kissing us? That's terrible. We're at first base. No, the Hate-Bit podcast does not go to first base. We go for home runs. We are shooting loads and everybody's catching them in the eyes and the teeth, okay? Pearly whites always.
We go for grand slams, 4 slags at a time. We know how to party.
Each.
Fucking right, man.
Each.
Right? See, you know what I'm talking about, and we even paid off the umpires. But we're talking about the Ouya,
Ooh, yeah.
which, as a lot of people are saying, stands to be the future of gaming. And Sainted Magnus and I went on forever about this the other night.
Oh,
And-
God.
I cannot
Forever.
believe it's fascinating to me. Apparently, it's going to run on the Android ice cream sandwich operating system, and is essentially going to be a self-contained development kit. And not only that, it claims to, when it is released, have a $99 price tag. It's very interesting, and I'm excited about it. But boys, what do we think? How do we feel about the Ouya?
I cannot fucking wait for this thing to come out. And the only reason I cannot wait for this thing to come out is because it is $99 brand new. They did a Kickstarter for it recently, and within 24 hours...
Wait. Sainted, I'll sell you some poop for $99. How about
I
that?
know,
You
right?
can fuck off.
You just want it because it's $99? No,
No,
what are you
no,
excited
I'm-
about, man?
Can I just get my
Go
point
ahead,
across?
go ahead,
Why it's
please.
so exciting? Because the whole thing, it's basically, it's a games console, pure and simple. It's not a DVD player. It's not a Blu-ray player. It's not an internet browser. It is not something where you can clean Windows with it. It is just pure and simple a games console that runs on Android. Yes, you can
And I also
Angry
think it
Birds
could
and
give
shit
us
like that.
games.
But the games, for example, the games are going to be free. The only way they're going to fund it is through microtransactions. Now, if this is done properly, where it gives you the core game and it doesn't take away from anything that you want to actually do on it, and if you want to do something special with it, obviously you pay for it, I'm fine with that. There's one massive concern for me with this thing. Advertising. Is it going to be funded by having shit tons of advertisements on the system?
Yeah.
That's the only thing that's concerned me at the moment with it. But some of the things that it's got, some of the features I like on it. It's got a quad-core processor, the Tegra 3 processor, whatever it's called. It's got 8 gigabytes of built-in storage, which is pretty cool. And it's also got a wireless gamepad, which is fashioned in a way around the Xbox 360 joypad. But it's also got a little touchscreen on it. I think it's about a 2.5, 3-inch touchscreen on it, which is actually quite interesting. So, fingers crossed that this is implemented properly. That's it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you had more. I think it's going to be a great thing. What I'm concerned about is the distribution of software. And, I got a little flack, actually, last week about how I came out against it being, the whole Kickstarter thing. I'm still fervently against Kickstarter programs. And there's a gentleman on that talks to us quite frequently on the Network of Hate, Mr. Thomas Varney. And he was telling me all these great things and how it can do this and how it can do that. And I'm all in favor of that. But my central argument against Kickstarters is I've always been against, and my inner libertarian refuses me to allow me to condone charity that benefits private enterprise. Outside of that, I think it could be a whole new realm of possibilities.
And here's another good thing about it. It's not directly competing with Nintendo, Sony, or Xbox. They're just
That is the great thing about it.
They are making a games console because they want to make a games console. They want people to enjoy games, not enjoy the fact that they can check out what's going on Twitter, what's playing Gran Turismo 5, for example.
Oh yeah, well I think that's one of the great things about it is it provides an alternative.
Yeah.
No longer are you a slave. And I think what's very intriguing about it is that there will be no licensing fees for the use of development kits and any of that stuff. This is can be kind of a game changer.
Yeah.
If you pardon the pun that I didn't do that on purpose.
They're giving you the chance to actually do what you want with the thing. If you want to make a game for it, you make a game for it. You want to make a simple game for it, you make a simple game for it. And
you could sell it too.
Yeah, exactly. It's a jailbroken console. It was what you're buying. You're buying a jailbroken console.
Oh yeah, but and it's also, I mean, to me it just seems like what if it's implemented the way they claim it will. It's a blank canvas. It can be whatever you want it to be.
Yes.
And that is what we've needed for so long. It's just, is it going to be done? Why hasn't Razorfist or Alpha Omega said anything?
Yeah, that's
because I invented a new form of indifference.
Oh,
completely uninterested.
Well, you know what? I'm intrigued by your ideas. What website do I have to go to get your manifesto?
Would you be willing to contribute to my cause? Would you be willing to contribute to my Kickstarter?
Oh, what's your Kickstarter? What do you want to do with your Kickstarter?
He's actually going to form the new Razor Fist Apathy Association.
It's my new Kickstarter to make it so that Kickstart My Heart is no longer played in car commercials.
That one and Fuel.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be funny.
What about Alpha?
Alpha, yes. What do you think, man?
I've been quite ever since I checked it out. I mean, it had my interest, so I went and read up about it and everything, and I do agree that it is a game changer, just given what it's trying to achieve. But the only way it's truly going to be a game changer is if it takes up market share. And considering the amount of backers that it has right now on its Kickstarter, which last I checked, it was at over 33,000, and that's a lot. In general, granted, some of those people only donate $1, but that's at least one person who is willing enough to go and shell out $1 to support a cause. So that says something about the product overall. But this is something I actually started thinking about this in a more broader sense, and this makes the Android market a lot more serious. And I kind of like that because the iOS platform pretty much has taken over as like the primary platform for any game developers to want to release their software for tablets and for phones and everything, because it's just more popular overall. Well, this could help it even things out. This also kind of calls into question, if this does succeed, is this how Apple is going to enter the market as well? And it just made me start thinking about a whole bunch of other things. But more on point, am I excited about it? I would rather get my hands on it. And at the end of the day, it just really boils down to what games it has. I don't give a shit what a console can do. I don't give a fuck what it looks like. I don't give a fuck about anything about it, to be honest. I just care about the games that are on it.
Well,
If this thing has exclusive titles for it that it really interest me, that I'm going to be into, that are really well implemented and everything, and they're going to be priced right. And I know Sainted had said that all the games are free. That part is partially true. Everything is free to try. Everybody had the misconception that everything is free. That's not actually true. It's just they will make it so that everything is free to be able to play. So there'll be at the very least a demo. At the very bare minimum, if you make a game for this, you have to at least provide a free sample of this game to be able to play. And, if you want to make the game entirely free with, the microtransactions or a monthly install fucking fee or whatever it is, then you can do that. I don't know. This is competing with a whole lot of other stuff like, PC gaming. This is technically competing with that. And it is competing with console gaming because if you're buying the Ouya and playing games on the Ouya, that means that you're not playing on a PS3 or an Xbox 360 or Wii or Wii U or the handhelds or anything like that. So I don't know. I'm going to wait it out and see exactly what happens because I'm patient.
Just a little thing to mention about the fact that you mentioned, what was it? When was the last time you checked the Kickstarter?
Last time I checked it, it was around it was over 33,000. I don't remember the exact amount though.
It's got 37,955 backers.
And how many days left?
24 days left. And how much money?
This
is how much money they asked for. They asked for $950,000. They are at $4,851,504.
Yeah, they crushed it. And as a matter of fact, if any of you are listening to us right now and you're aware of the Ouya, on the right-hand side, you can see, depending on the amount that you donate to the Kickstarter, you can see exactly what you get out of it. And it's interesting that they're actually sold out of some of their units already because so many people have went and, shelled out the money for this. So I'm pretty excited about this. And also, did they ever, I don't know if you guys know, but did they ever give like a list of retail chains that are going to be carrying this?
Not over here. I've not heard anything, but, fingers crossed.
Like, I know that they're going to have it in retail stores. They said that already. It's just that anybody donating to the Kickstarter and everything obviously is going to get their hands on it first and kind of be like beta testers in a way. So first come, first serve basis. But, yeah, like I said, I'm just going to wait on it, but it does have my interest at the very least. I'm looking forward to it, and I hope it does well, because the more competition, the better, because that means that we get better products at the end of the day.
Agreed.
Well, and somebody needs to rock the boat, because things are getting more and more stale with every passing hour.
Yes. With every installment of Call of Duty, the game gets staler.
It's so funny that I remember I laughed so hard when I found out. I was like, oh, the Ouya. I'm like, well, that's how, if you guys remember, I want to say, what was it, in the mid-90s when Milton Bradley decided to revamp the Ouija board, they tried to market it as Ouya.
That's true.
You had to be an American teenager, in the mid-1990s, but does anybody remember that?
I don't. I just remember it being a glow-in-the-dark Ouija board, and I laughed a lot.
Yeah, but it's funny. They marketed it under the name Ouya, which I thought was kind of strange. But hey, what do you? We've pretty much run out of clever names. There's only so many fucking words you can have.
Well, apparently the name is supposed to be Booyah, but they took out the B. Probably couldn't fit the letter.
That's what it seems like, doesn't it? But I hope for the best. I hope I hope for the best in anything, really.
Am I the only one that when I hear Booyah, I think of Cyborg from Teen Titans? I probably am.
I think.
No? Okay, just me. All
Rey
right.
Mysterio or something.
Oh yeah, Booyaka, Booyaka, 619, Booyaka, Booyaka, and whatever the fuck they're mumbling, I don't really know. But then he pops out of the fucking stage, and then he goes into the ring, and he can't do half the shit he did in WCW, so no one cares.
Every time I see him pop up like that, in my head, I always picture, the Big Show just throwing him at a ceiling. And there he is.
Dude, I remember
he
when
totally stole Gangrail's entrance. He just
I know,
the
right?
fire. You just
See,
took the fire away.
I liked when Kevin Nash threw him at a trailer. Like, he threw him like he was throwing a tennis ball at a wall for fun.
He threw him like a fucking lawn dart. Are you
Yeah, he
kidding
was
me?
just like, all right, here we go. And Rey Mysterio was like, here we go. Well, oh, shit, smash. and, like, there's some things you can fake, but not being lawn darted into a wall. It's hard to fake that because it's your face in a wall.
Yeah. Walls give less than a shit about what you're trying to convey on TV.
And
That's
I
true.
understand people are like, he put his hands up. Well, you also need to talk to Mr. Velocity in science class because, well, there's only so much you can stop when a 7-foot fucking dude is throwing a dude my height into a fucking wall like he's I don't know, a Nerf gun or some
Yeah,
shit.
it's like, what part of into a wall is not setting in with you?
Yeah.
Anyway, so we have, at least I have high hopes for the Ouya. And we got another piece of news we're going to talk about, and Sainted Magnus wants to talk about this one. The brand new, recently unveiled PS3 design. Sainted Magnus, what happened?
What the fuck is Sony doing? With all I can say. Right, I'm just going to describe what this console looks like. Do you remember back in the early 90s they released something called the 3DO? Or the
I do.
CDI? And they released that little flippy top version of it. Well, that's basically what it looks like. It looks like the PlayStation 3 Slim had an affair with the PlayStation 2. They had, they got a bit funky.
Yeah, as designed by Trojan.
Yes. They,
Ribbed for all of your pleasures.
yeah. They got a bit funky.
Yeah, it's got 3 speeds.
What? Stop. Doesn't work. Never works. No, well let's just get on with this. So basically, it looks like a PS3 Slim now, but smaller, and it looks like somebody has just run over it with a load of little mini bikes. It looks like it's.
Where do you put in the batteries?
Dude, you remember how people used to say it looked like a George Foreman grill? Now it actually resembles one because it has the ridges on it.
It does. It has the ridges on it. It is bad. But it's got all the standard plugs and all that sort of shit, so we don't need to worry about that. Storage. 250 has been announced and a 500 has been announced, so there could be a 320 in between that just to sweeten the deal. So that's basically how much storage do I need for the PlayStation 3 now? Oh, we can have 500.
The best question is, who gives a fuck about storage?
I know, exactly. Does it play the games?
Well, you kind of have to care about it when you're, because on PS3 they have those mandatory installs on certain games, so it is a legitimate issue, the storage space.
Yeah, but it does look very squashed. And now the top. Now this is what's got me. A flippy top, you'd expect it to flip, don't you? It's a top loader. This one slides. You slide it across. Basically, you look at the PS3. It has to lay flat, so you slide it across to put your game in. Why? What's wrong with pressing a button and it just goes pop?
They wanted to be clever, maybe?
These were cheaper.
Yeah.
Uh,
This has less moving parts.
yeah, but it's more likely to jam, you stupid retarded idiot.
Yeah.
So my opinion on this PlayStation 3 redesign, not necessary.
Not necessary.
Not necessary.
Well, just at the end of the day, does Sony really need more SKUs right now? Do they need more models of PS3
Right.
to confuse their consumers? It's
Well,
already.
maybe check up to how many PSPs there were.
1, 2, 3, 4,
See?
5.
So, which
Yeah.
means we got at least 3 more iterations of the PlayStation 3 to come out this year.
Yeah, we had
But-
1,
but it's
2,
just
3
like-
PS2s because there was one in a
See?
TV. There was 1, 2, 2 PS1s from what I can remember.
Oh no, there was multiple PS1s. The regular fat PS1, that thing had a whole bunch of different SKUs. I
There was
remember being
black PS1.
If you look on the back of
Oh, yeah.
PS1s,
You're talking
the
about
AV
motherboard
cords.
revisions. I'm talking about standardized design.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Standard designs. There's only technically 3 PS1s because the back of that is, an actual design, I guess.
Mm.
to a
I mean,
certain
but guys, the mere act of walking into an electronics store and asking, hey, I want a PS3. Which version should I buy? Already turns into like a 2-hour, Sony Electronics orientation seminar as it is.
And scares
You know-
the shit out of parents.
Yes.
It does. They walk in, they're like, my son wants a PlayStation 3. Which one should I get? Well, okay, you got the 20 gig, you got the 40 gig, the 60 gig, the 80 gig, the 200 gig, the 500, the 1000 gig. You know what I mean? Like, it just turns into...
How do we get here to where shopping for a simple fucking, Christmas present now requires a notepad and,
Yeah,
if
and
you
it's
have a
like,
stenographer?
See, if you get the 40 gig, it's cheaper, but there's no backwards compatibility. Actually, there hasn't
What's
been a
backwards compatibility?
Yeah,
Then you
there
get
you
into
go.
the, you get
New
into the backwards
conversation.
compatibility thing, and it's like that's its own briar patch. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Well, so I don't know.
You know what? I would actually be excited about this new model if they said, "Yeah, we implemented PS2 playback again. Here you
Oh
go,
my
you can have
God.
it back." Because then I'd be like, "Hey, cool." In a way, I could ridicule them, but like, you shouldn't have taken it out to begin with.
Yeah.
That's nice that you're bringing it back, but yeah, overall, I do feel that this is unnecessary because the PS3 Slims are serving their purpose just fine.
Yep. The PS3 Slim actually looks good
This is great.
in
You
a
guys
way.
are dicks. The end.
It's a cash grab, is what it is.
It is, and there's no mention of pricing yet, but expected price is probably between $250 and $300.
Oh, here, this wasn't mentioned, and I thought this was fucking bizarre. It's rumored that they might be making a 16 gigabyte model.
Oh my God.
Why would you even fucking bother with 16 gigs? And for anybody that's even going to fucking try to chime in the comments, be like, well, there's some people, shut the fuck up. We just got them stating that there's mandatory installs. Do you really want to have to delete all your system information every fucking 2 games that you play?
Well, let's put it into perspective, right? You want to play, I don't know, Gran Turismo 5. It's a big game, so obviously you need to install it. So then you've not got crippling load times. So you get that. You might want to buy some of the DLC for it. Yeah, go ahead, buy the DLC for
God.
it. You want to buy, you want to have the actual mandatory updates, which some of them can be 2 to 3 gigs big. You've pretty much stuffed your PS3. With
Yeah.
that.
But then
you know how-
Sainted, you won't
Can I
you won't
finish?
be able to use PlayStation Home.
No,
You won't be
exactly.
able to use.
Exactly. Well, who uses a PlayStation Home? All of about 3 people that
Pedophiles.
I've ever heard.
Pedophiles.
And idiots. And idiots.
Pedophiles and idiots?
Yes.
Yes.
I know a few people that use that fucking service. It's a waste of time, trust me. It's like playing Second Life without actually doing anything.
I'm pretty sure PlayStation Home's just there for trolling purposes, and that's really about it. Then pedophiles, like you guys had already
Yes.
mentioned.
But
And
just
idiots.
moving off that, basically the game save that I have for my Gran Turismo save is actually 17 gigabytes
Oh my God.
with all that stuff installed. Luckily, I swapped out my hard drive and put in a 500 anyway, so I don't need to buy this new fucking PlayStation 3 model.
That's fucking absurd, though, dude. Because technically, if they do follow suit with this whole 16 gigabyte version, you wouldn't be able to really play.
No. Well, what is it? Rage, for example, 8 gigabyte install.
Well, it's like that.
Bioshock game, 4 gigabytes at least.
It's like that version of the 360 with the memory card and no storage on it. It's like, oh, this will be fun.
Yeah, I can't wait to not play anything.
That was
Hooray.
That'll be great.
Yeah, the arcade
even-
edition of the Xbox 360. How many of them?
Oh yeah, and that that memory card, 512 megabytes. I can't wait to go on Xbox Live Arcade and download nothing. Because that's what you'll download is nothing. Because nothing takes up more space than 512 megabytes. Fact. And if anybody wants to be like, those numbers don't add up, no, they do. Fuck you. The end. The math god said so.
Yeah, there you go. It came down. It came down from the mountain. It's funny. We were having a discussion about the PS3 design because did you hear about the Halo 4 Xbox?
God, that looks awesome.
It really
I knew
does
you would
suck.
love it. I knew you would love
It looks good, but that's pretty much all it is. It's the same. It's the same fucking Xbox. It's a 320 gig hard drive. You get 2 special controllers with it, with that fancy new D-pad and a copy of Halo 4.
And how much?
$400.
words.
Oh.
You want to know what it made me think about though when I seen it? Because Saint had said it was see-through, and I just saw stock photos. I was like, it's see-through. Got to see better pictures of it, and it is see-through. And the first thing it popped up in my brain was the when Nintendo 64 was doing all those different versions where it's like orange see-through, the smoke see-through system. I thought all those looked so fucking badass. And I was like, that is exactly what I want. And also made me think about that limited edition Sega Saturn that I've been dying to get from Japan. The one that says, ain't it cool on the top? I fucking want that one so very badly. But yeah, it looks badass. But, you know, that's it. I'm saying words.
Yeah,
Sounds! Loud
Ooh.
sounds!
But, I mean, $400?
Way too much. But
Jesus.
hey, it comes with 2 controllers and a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not to mention an aging, decrepit computer system inside.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And there is one thing I will say about it. It reminds me very much of Inversion. If you didn't have Halo 4 printed on the side, you'd think Inversion or Brink or something along those sort of art style. So, yeah, it's not nice.
Oh well, Jesus Christ, that was a mouthful. That was a long first half. I think it's time for us to have a stretch and get
a
ready
poop.
to answer some questions. That's right. Just take your time, do that
We're
sort
gonna
of thing.
all take a double dump. Double
Yeah. In
decker
fact,
dump. There we go.
That's right, and we're gonna do it on your mom. Anyway,
On the glass
What's your
table.
obsession with people's moms this week?
I don't know. I'm just a motherfucker.
But, yeah, I was
He
gonna
likes
say
the
yeah.
Cougars. He
Hey,
likes the
wh-
Yeah, you
Cougars.
know,
Likes
could
the
be.
Cougar.
Don't say that. Vicky Guerrero wears a fucking chain that says Cougar.
Ugh.
Oh yeah, there you go. Twisting
Hmm.
fucking stomachs. That's right. You all
Ugh.
deserve it. You make me think of bad things. You know, it's Star Wars Episode 1 and 2. How dare you? Now think of video. Oh wait. Oh god, dude. She was also wearing a swimsuit recently. Fuck. I just made myself sad face. All right,
Now
continue
this-
forward.
No, shut
Now
up
this
before you
is
make
what-
everybody
Ah.
else sad-faced.
Great.
Yeah.
Now you have cancer.
Dude, I have brain. I have like brain, eye, ear, I have
Okay.
everything cancer. It's
Let's-
just
You have
No.
butt cancer.
I have
Now let's-
cancer.
Now let's put them all together. Now let's put all those horrible things together. Now this is mom railing.
No! Right, what's in the colostomy bag at the moment?
There's a lot in the colostomy bag. You know something I was thinking about before the podcast? I was thinking to myself, am I the only person who snickers when you see Professor Layton and the diabolical box? I just
You know, I didn't until you said it
Because
that way, and then it made me
I've come
laugh.
across a few diabolical boxes in my life, and I don't know if they're the same, but
I have. I call them ex-girlfriends.
Oh.
I like you live in fear every single day. Just thought I'd bring that up. So the next time you're perusing around your local game store and you see Professor Layton's diabolical box, you can fill in the blank. Nope.
I actually saw a
And when
copy
you
of
fill
that
in the
other
blank,
day. I
that's-
was laughing.
That pretty good actually.
When
But
you
anyway,
fill in the blank, pull out. Just make sure you pull out, or else you're stuck with the blank. Anyway, good.
that's part of it too.
Yeah.
You know what? We got some mail here. The Gmail box. I've already plugged the Gmail box, so drop us a line. This
Do it.
first one comes here from Dr. Disco 93.
What
And he
a
says-
fucking name. That is awesome.
He says, "Heyo, Hate-Bit Podcast.
Heyo.
Heyo." He says, "I have an."
Disco fever. Disco fever.
Stay away from the disco biscuits.
He says, "Why do you guys think European game developers barely use their European cultural influences?" In parentheses, he says, "Why they have American settings and all." As I am thinking about the Grand Theft Auto series and the fact that it came from British developers and various other European game developers, I got curious about why they have most of their games set in the United States, North America, or at least deal with Americans. I sometimes wonder if European game culture is more diluted than US and Japanese gaming cultures, and to some extent Korean and Chinese gaming cultures. Okay.
That's a mouthful.
well,
Found an article online
well,
that discusses.
nothing's more diluted than American. quite
No,
frankly.
not.
But European, I can agree with it to an extent. I would strongly disagree with the contention that Asian games are more diluted and Americanized, because they're not. There have been some more recent attempts to try and westernize games. Like, what was that third-person shooter that just came out? It was like a Capcom game with absolutely no story, total transparent ripoff of Gears of War.
Binary domain.
Binary, I think that might have been it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a Sega release.
Yeah.
Yeah, not very good. But there's a
Not
few
a-
examples. There's a few examples of that, but by and large, you still have the giant windshield-sized eyeballs. You know, your little schoolgirl skirts, Sugoi! You know, anime nonsense in Japan. So I would say they're not very diluted at all.
Fair enough.
Oh, well, he goes on to say, I found an article online that discusses the fact that games not made in the US and Japan are quote unquote globalized or barely have a native cultural influence in them. I have provided the link. Well, we don't give a fuck about your link. He says, I'd like to hear your thoughts on the topic. He says, P.S. Please stay on topic. The last question I gave to you, Razor Fist, went on about anime and stuff, and I'm like, dude, can we stay on gaming? Well, you know, Dr. Disco, on behalf of my good friend Razor Fist, fuck you.
Dude, that was awesome.
He remembered.
Well, he remembered. That's very interesting. But like, you try to tell me how to do our fuck, I'll kill you. Anyway,
I have a root beer. I'll drink it at you.
I think that the games, you know, are that way just because everything is a fucking action movie now.
Yeah, well, it's just there's more. The video game industry is larger in America.
That
Which
is
is-
exactly what I was going to say.
That's all there
It's
is
so small
to it.
here.
You know, if it's why Bollywood. It's kind of its own kind of sequestered thing apart from the rest of cinema. You know, and it's the reason why so many European movies wind up being so Americanized.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? There's
Look at Jason Statham.
Yeah, you usually have to go after people who are buying the stuff.
exactly wherever the money is, that's where they're going to aim their, you know, tentacles.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. You know, Japanese culture in the the mid to late 1990s was kind of on the radar for American audiences,
Yeah.
and now it seems like it is anathema to
Yeah.
American culture. You know, and it's the same thing. I think the Europeans have that same sense, like, yeah, if we do this, they might like it for a second and then completely fucking turn on us.
they're wise to do that. They are, in a way, because I mean, yeah, it would be great if there were more European games. I think The Witcher has a European sensibility to it. It's a little bit Americanized. The main character has an American accent, for one thing, and most of the voice actors, I think, are American. But the setting, the storytelling sensibility, I think the games are based off of a European novelist, so it's a very European game. There are European games out there. You can't tell me Heavy Rain isn't the most French thing since, you know, Easy Cheese or fucking snail slurping or whatever the
Oh,
fuck.
we battered the French last week.
We did.
That's
I
right,
apologize.
that's right. We'll have
I
to
love
battle
you,
some-
France. I do.
Do you? Fuck?
Yes.
You hate them, really?
No, I love them. Come on.
Yeah, you know, they're great, man. They gave us so many great things. They gave
What,
us
like
they gave
Napoleon?
they gave Jerry Lewis a reason to stay alive.
For that reason, they must be wiped off the face of the earth.
Yep.
Actually, I was that and, you know, Vietnam and that whole thing. But you know, that's neither here nor there.
They gave us Gerard Depardieu.
I know. I mean, thank you. You know, I mean, we would continue to think that you know, we would think that Bob Hope still has a big nose if we didn't have Gerard Depardieu.
I know.
He's the entire world what a fucking big nose looks like.
And we would have missed out on 1492 Conquest of Paradise, right?
I know. I mean, Gerard Depardieu's forehead could batter down the front doors of the Fort Knox. I mean, and,
Yes.
so if we ever
He's like a French Pachycephalosaurus, really.
Oh God.
see, you know, I mean, that dude could snort Paris.
I think he just looks like something from Easter Island.
He's like a golem. He's like a golem.
That's even better. I mean, he could dig to China with that fucking thing. Anyway, we got another piece of mail, and it comes to us from Jonathan Rodriguez. I think it's supposed to say Rodriguez, but there's no Z on the end, so I'm going to call it Rodriguez. And he says, "Hey guys, love the podcast. I have a question. What is your top failed sequel in time in any game generation?"
Mass Effect 3.
Halo,
Mass Effect 3 or
ODST.
maybe Dragon Age 2. It's sad that both those games are BioWare, but unfortunately, that's the way they are now.
Damn, top failed sequel. That's a hard one. That's what she said. Just come back to me. I'm thinking.
Okay, same top failed
Halo
sequel.
ODST. It was such a letdown.
See,
What?
what's is, I could give you a laundry list. Unfortunately, most of them include the word Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh yeah.
pretty
Oh,
much,
yeah.
pretty much all the
So-
Sonic the Hedgehog
Okay,
games.
so what I need you to do is I need you to get all the Sonic games together, and then I want you to subtract 40% of those games, and those are the games I'm talking about. There you go.
Sonic Generations, Sonic Rush, Sonic Rush Adventure,
Hey, Sonic,
and
Sonic.
Sonic Dark Chronicles.
Shadow the Hedgehog.
Oh,
Ah.
burn that game.
Alpha Omega Sin. What favorite or it failed sequels for you?
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll churn out a couple. Resident Evil 5, firstly.
Ugh.
Look, I know
Oh.
it's not the worst game in the entire world, people, but let's be real. It's not a good Resident Evil game.
No,
There you
sir.
go. Let's see. Next on the list, Final Fantasy 13. Now, it can be long debated forever and ever that the Final Fantasy games, are good or bad, but for me personally, 13 was like the very first actual sequel I was just not happy with. It's the only Final Fantasy I have not completed.
Oh, it's so
Uh,
bad.
It's just, and if you're a fan and everything, that's fine. I'm not telling you to not be a fan of it. I'm just telling you I didn't like it. And let's see, there was one more that I was thinking. Because you said Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic 06 made me want to gouge my fucking eyes out with my own cock. And
Yeah.
then take pictures, because quite frankly that was beyond a train wreck. And I understand that that's something people always talk about it, it's so bad, it's not that bad. Well, apparently you live in upside down world where everything is just absolutely fucking wrong, because that game was a shit biscuit on fire and I hated it. So yeah, those are bad sequels to me. That I can. Fuck it, Castlevania 64, because I was talking about it today because I was dumb enough to buy it. That game does fucking suck, but still, whatever. Anyway,
Speaking of Sonic, how about that mini podcast, huh?
Mm.
Thought we were the Hate-Bit.
Like that a failed sequel?
Yeah, thought we were the Hate-Bit podcast, not the Sega filleting lovecast.
It was the Love Bit podcast.
hey man, we actually talked about shit that we liked. We were like, hey, this stuff's pretty cool.
Yeah, and we
It
didn't
was
have you
laid
two
back.
fucking assholes pulling us down.
I know, which leads me to believe that we're the bane of everyone's existence.
Yes, you
I know.
are.
Oh yeah. Oh, but yeah, Chaos and Razor Fist are so abrasive. They drive up my cholesterol. Oh,
Oh well.
They
listen.
said something about my mother.
Listen to me, pal. If at any point in time you find yourself in disagreement with myself or any other member of the Hate-Bit podcast, 9 out of 10 physicians recommend a diet high in my chundering penis. All right? Fuck you.
Yeah, and if they shit out that gerbil, everything. Never mind. I've gone too far. I've gone too
We do
far.
not support animal abuse, by the way.
No, not in the slightest. Not in the slightest. So put them inside a condom.
And suffocate the poor
That's the
bastard
little
before you
guy
put it
can't
up there.
breathe in there.
I know, right? Oh, wow. My
This
goodness.
is a terrible air bubble.
I know. This is just. Oh my. Jonathan Rodriguez, look what you did.
Yes. You made
This is
it
all
this
your
cry.
fault, and you know it. Anyway.
And Robert Rodriguez, too, because he makes bad movies.
Yeah. You know what? You know what? We're gonna single-handedly blame both Jonathan and Robert Rodriguez for the death of God knows how many fucking gerbils,
Can we blame John Goodman as
either by
well?
suffocation or otherwise.
We should blame John Goodman as well.
No.
I don't know why I'm singling him out. I just want to throw him in.
He's on much larger prey, I assure you. John Goodman could take out a fucking water buffalo.
I'm
with
pretty
one
sure he has.
He has one
He
on
can
a
do it with
burger
one
every
bite,
day.
And he also
for
called
God's
it lunch.
Yep.
See?
He has one on a
Oh.
burger every day for his lunch.
It's a
Is it- wait. So
Beef
John
every
Goodman,
day.
you're saying John Goodman eats water buffalo. Isn't that cannibalism?
No. It'd be cannibalism if Roseanne Barr did it. Yes, I'm referencing Roseanne. Okay, it would be cannibalism then, but for him, it's just another Tuesday. So, Oh, and now I'm referencing fucking the Street Fighter the movie. Holy shit! Look at me
Oh,
on a fucking
yeah.
roll.
You are.
Bison dollars.
Dude, I want a fucking wallet just filled to the brim with bison dollars. Try buying shit.
Game over.
Like lightning.
Exactly. I want a
Fucking
signed
love it.
copy of the Pax Bisonica.
Jeez.
Anyway, there's other mail we got to do now.
Oh dear,
I-
America.
Mail.
Oh god.
But
I'm
this
wet
one-
with anticipation.
I know this next one comes from a gentleman, Mind Lasher, and he says, "Good morrow, gentlemen," and Razor Fist.
Good morrow.
He made a funny. He
And-
says, "First off, thanks for the laughs. I listen to the show every Wednesday at work on my 3DS. Hate-Bit is so much better in 3D." He says, "Almost."
How
He
does,
says
how
it
does
all-
this feel? How does this feel? We are on the 3DS.
That's a
Fucking cool.
We're the killer app.
I know, man. Watch. Now we need to put pictures of our dicks, and like they're coming right at you.
Yeah. Whoa, 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 whoa,
Right,
whoa.
your mother and your sister.
Our dicks
Now,
make
what you
dubstep
really need to
noises.
do is port us over to the PS Vita, so there'll be something worth playing on that piece of shit.
We are
Yeah,
actually
man.
on the PS Vita because you
can see
can access
the back
YouTube.
screen.
You can access YouTube on the PlayStation Vita.
Well, I
you
see.
just can't do anything while you're doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Dude, you touch that touch screen on the back, and you'll feel something.
You'll
you
feel a
feel
lot of
prick.
money falling out of your pocket.
All right. He says he goes on to say it almost seems like the octo-dicked rape walruses are right in the room with me,
Yes.
which is good. He says, secondly, I know that you guys tend to think that downloadable episodic games suck more dick than a San Franciscan gigolo during Pride Week. But are there any that you
It's a
find
busy week.
enjoyable? I myself like the Back to the Future games from Telltale Games, and also the On the Rain Slick Precipice of Darkness games by Tinkerhouse Games and Zeboyd Games. Keep the hate flowing, Joseph McAlif. And he actually gave me a pronunciation guide for McAlif.
Okay.
Thank you.
And,
Was
Thank
there a
you.
question in that email?
I know. Well,
yeah, where
it's
was the
what-
question?
What do we think about downloadable episodic games?
We've
Okay,
we've
I
voiced
like-
this very much.
I like Jurassic Park.
Oh god.
It was like Heavy Rain with dinosaurs and glitchy.
So you just downloaded it for the glitchy comedy?
Yes.
I don't know,
It's
to be
actually-
honest,
it's actually-
sometimes that makes a game worth it is when it's really just a technical fucking mess.
Yeah.
Skyrim, anyone?
Action 52, anyone?
Yeah, Action 52 is getting a hold of one is
And
What's
Cheetah Man.
Emulation.
And you know how Alpha likes to get a hold of one.
oh yeah.
God.
Hey, but here, hey, who among us could say that? Let he who has a free hand cast the first stone.
Oh.
Notice no stones being thrown.
Hmm.
These waters are awfully calm.
That's only because I'm not ambidextrous.
I'm trying to figure out how to do it with my feet now.
Uh-oh. Come on. If you could do that, there would be nobody on this podcast.
Well, if you pay
It would
enough
be
money,
the Silence podcast.
if you pay enough money, all feet are your feet.
Oh yeah, aren't we supposed to be talking about episodic games? And
Yeah.
Like, what the
I don't know. I'd rather my game be complete when I buy it. That would be super.
I'd
Yeah,
rather
let's
it be
do
on a
that.
fucking disc.
I know that somebody could be like, yeah, but you get it little by little, and that gives them lots of time to develop more content. Or they just give me a whole game and make a sequel. Oh man, holy shit! Who came up with this idea? Haha. Anyway,
Well, you know, I mean, yeah, you can't make video games on the comic book premise.
Nope.
I don't
You
know.
really-
People are
really
trying.
can't. But it's like, hey, here's what we're gonna do, right? Here's your game, and then if we feel like it, we'll finish it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if they were making them on a comic book premise, it wouldn't be a problem. But here's the problem: they're making them on the Lost premise. They're
Wait, you
they're
expect
oh,
it's
then
better?
a giant monster crashes through the foliage. Lost. You know what I mean? And that's how it ends. And it's
Well,
like,
see,
wait until the next downloadable episode.
It would be really nice if they were going with the downloadable premise, because that means that all of our games would come out at $2.99. So
Yeah,
Yay! I like that idea. Oh, and it comes with and it's a hardcover edition later on, which is weird, but whatever.
Yeah.
A steel case edition? I fucking love that idea. I love steel case games so much. Does anybody else? Dude, steel case is fucking awesome. It's metal.
It
I
is
don't know.
metal.
You keep saying steel case, and I get excited that you're seeing steel cage.
Oh
I'm like,
no.
Steel cages.
Have we got another wrestling reference coming?
Yeah, dude, I think that
unexpectedly
we've
down
had
the road?
like 80.
Oh no!
My math could be off, but fuck it. The math god said so.
Enough
Hey.
is enough, and it's time for a change.
Woo! Oh, blue blazer.
Oh,
Speaking of noses,
Michael Jackson.
I am not an aardvark.
but that's not much of a problem anymore these days. Anyway, that's all that's lying around in the colostomy bag. So if you have any questions, comments, anything like that for the Hate-Bit Podcast, please drop us a line at hatebitpodcast@gmail.com or on Facebook or on YouTube. We always appreciate it. Now, something that's been very dear to my heart over the last week, and I've been wanting to bring it up on my show, but I needed these four fabulous gentlemen to help me out and talk about this a bit. And I have to say this deeply from my whatever, your heart, your soul, whatever, that shit that you make up.
You have neither.
Right, exactly. These things that we make up to feel better about, being bastards. But I have to admit this. And I can't believe it's coming from me, but I am just giving less of a shit about the Nintendo Wii U as time wears on. The more I hear about this thing, the less I give a shit.
Well, you've said it yourself
It has
numerous
this
times. They're saying nothing. They're saying a lot, but saying nothing.
Yeah, they say so much, and they've told us nothing. We don't know what
No,
it costs.
it's like an Angry Joe review.
It's
Oh,
almost.
hey, be kind now. This is Nintendo. You don't want to bash them that hard.
I know.
I know.
Bashing
Apparently, they
fucking
know the Yakuza. I don't know that for certain. I've heard things.
I know. At least
But-
the Wii U doesn't have skits.
But all I keep hearing about is how, with the Wii U and when people are there's been some backlash, and people are not really so much attacking the games. They're just attacking this secrecy. It's like, if you're going to tell us something, fucking tell us something. And I'm at this point in my life where I just don't give a shit anymore. I really don't. You are going to have to beg me to buy this fucking thing at this rate.
Are you going to be hanging up your Nintendo underwear and your
I know.
Club
Your
Nintendo
Mario overalls,
hat?
are they going up?
Well,
Yeah.
let's be perfectly honest about this. Realistically, being the kind of game collector that I am, if they stop making games tomorrow, I still have a massive backlog of stuff I have to get and play.
Yeah.
So that's not even an issue. So whatever they do, that's their own business. But, looking over just the games, and that's the part they're missing. Well, you don't understand asymmetrical gameplay. It's like, I understand it. I can see, this person who has the big controller plays a different form of a game than this person, but even though they're playing the same game, I understand it. I figured it out. I'm the relatively smart guy, and I can look over stats, and, it's like, oh, well, that's great. That seems really neat. What kind of games does it play? Oh, well, it's not really about the games. Yes, it is! That's all it is. It's about the games, and they seem to... Are people really going to spend money for, like Batman Arkham Asylum Armored Edition? Are you fucking kidding me? This game came out a fucking year ago. People who want to play this game have played this game. All right, now, Ubisoft's got a couple of decent ideas, and then the Nintendo games are, I'm sorry, laughable.
They're not even that.
There are games that I'm remotely interested in, but not for fucking $60 American dollars. Most of these games should have wound up on the 3DS.
Yeah, like I don't know.
Well, the Project P100, that looks like a game that should be on the 3DS.
That game looks like it should be on a tablet, not just the 3DS.
Even so, exactly. And, well, it's a Nintendo game, so it's not going to wind up, on, any other source. But this is nonsense. They keep telling us stuff that they're not saying anything.
But it's just going back to E3 again. It's like at E3 that when Reggie Fils-Aimé was sat on that stupid sofa saying, "Oh, we've got the Wii U. We're going to announce this thing coming from Platinum Studios and all this sort of shit," and And he just says, oh yeah, it's called P100, and well, the development name's called P100, and then that was it. We didn't see any gameplay footage, we didn't see anything. We had to dig on YouTube to find gameplay footage of this fucking thing. And
Well,
that's pretty much what Nintendo's doing wrong at the moment. They're not telling anybody anything.
Well, the thing that's most interesting is now, like we discussed about Comic-Con, how Comic-Con has basically just become this advertising opportunity.
Yeah.
It's not what it claims to be, and that's just the American way of life. Say one thing, do
Yeah.
something different.
I agree
So
with that.
I've grown used to that. But see, they had a genuine opportunity here, and I've seen some of the coverage. Not a lot of it, but a decent amount from Comic-Con and everything. And I think this was their chance. This and the Tokyo Game Show, even though the holiday season is fucking barreling down the tracks. This is July, which means this thing is gonna drop in 3.5 months. So 11 weeks. That's not a very long time. And what did they bring to Comic-Con? The exact same goddamn thing they brought to E3. Nothing.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Nothing. Yeah, it's like it's not wine. It doesn't get better the longer you hang on to it.
I think you need to sit down for a minute and take a deep breath, because
Yeah, I'm gonna.
this is really kicking you in your Nintendo nuts right about now, isn't
It
it?
is absolutely, because this is not the Nintendo that we knew just a couple of years ago.
But
Yeah.
this is
Well,
the thing.
you've
They're on
seen
about
how-
innovation, but what's so innovative about having a fucking tablet controller sat on your lap while playing a game?
But
It
it's
doesn't
very
feel
innovative.
doesn't feel innovative to me.
Well, maybe it doesn't to you, but the overall, they really haven't explained it that well yet. You just have to think about, the possibilities. It can do that. Yeah, that's a great idea, but there's one fucking problem. If it's not running any software, it doesn't fucking matter.
Exactly. And it's,
and they're
it's
going
just
to
going to
release all these multi-plats for it. They're going to release, Assassin's Creed 3 is coming out on the Wii U, and the blah blah blah. It's all multi-plats. And it is, like what Saint had said last week. It's basically Nintendo catching up.
It is, and
But
it wasn't me
the
that said it. It was somebody in one of the messages that said that. But it's exactly right. That statement is right. Is Nintendo, all they're doing is playing catch up now.
Yeah,
The-
and not so much to catch up with everyone else, but just as it's kind of like it comes off as desperate.
They are.
They remind me of, a couple of girlfriends, actually, now that I think about it.
Well,
But,
and look, there is a little bit of cause for desperation, because yes, they had this massive success with the Wii in 2006 and 2007. It petered off in 2008, and then it headed straight for the center of the earth after that point. And Nintendo has been in dire straits ever since. They really haven't been doing well with the Wii because there's so much shovelware, so little software.
yeah.
I think at the end of the day, they kind of shot themselves in the foot, because let's call a spade here. The Wii would have been better with a better processor.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? It would have been better with better tech.
Well,
Because
I
they
think it
even
would have been
have
better
games
if they
like
had made
that,
some goddamn games for it, and instead of sitting back and letting it do whatever it wanted to.
Bingo.
Because what it ended up being was just a bunch of fucking Barbie games.
it was. I feel sorry that I bought a Wii in some respects, because I bought the Wii because I wanted to try out some of the games that won't, that are not out on, say, the PlayStation 3 or the Xbox 360. But when I went trawling through the actual game list, you can go on the internet and you find all these lists of what games have come out for the system. They have, not even half of them were fucking playable. It's just all fucking Wii dancing, Wii this, Wii that, Wii something, Wii fucking scratch your ass. There's just nothing there really for a core gamer. I think the games I've got in my collection are pretty much the games that I'm only going to get for it. There is nothing out there for the Wii.
Well,
You have to
from-
dig.
If it had,
You
you know,
have to dig.
they said it was. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You have to dig so fucking deep to find a game that that we can all enjoy.
They're out there, absolutely. But yeah, you have to you have to jump through hoops of fire to find these games. They're just buried under, a mountain of, if you'll forgive me, shovelware.
Well,
And
no,
it's
you're
just-
telling the truth there. You don't have to apologise for it, because, let's just go back to the beginning of the year. There was a Kickstarter for, for Project Rainfall to try and get the games that were already in fucking English localized to play, to play on the fucking Wii. People
Yeah,
soft
like what
modding
do we have
them.
to do to get you to sell us something?
Exactly.
And I'm pretty sure that's not how consumerism works. I was like, do you guys want because the key is if you want to sell stuff, you have to put things on the market to be sold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this seems to be they're going to piggyback the success of the Wii. Now, like we've discussed in previous weeks, the Wii was essentially a fad. It was this thing, and most people who bought them had no idea they were buying a Nintendo product because it was cleverly put gray on white, in that very corner to where not until the sales start to slow did they bump up. Oh hey Nintendo, we made Mario, Nintendo,
Yeah.
and they went that route. And now this is going to be like, oh well, it's the next thing, and when they said they were going after hardcore gamers, I thought they meant they were going to make games.
Yep. But
it turns
they're
out what
not.
they
Instead,
meant
they're
was-
porting. Instead, they're porting a bunch of third-party stuff
Yeah,
from
they're
this
porting-
generation. Instead
Yeah,
of
yeah.
spearheading the next generation, they're catching up to this generation with a new controller. It's unfortunate, but
Yeah, it's well.
But that's pretty much all it is. It's a new fucking controller. It's a new way of playing, but it's a new way of playing that people are not going to be interested in. It's too complex.
Well, I don't
what
think
was
it's so
wrong with
it's
a
too
fucking
complex. It's
joypad?
just they keep talking about tech stuff and how impressive it is and how much it can do this and how much it can do that. And at the end of the day, you have to realize that there's not a lot of fun to be had to just stare at silicon chips.
Exactly.
Okay, that doesn't get anybody anywhere. I think that they expected it goes into now they're following what Sony did. They're expecting impressive hardware to sell impressive hardware. That doesn't work.
If they want
Yep.
people to buy their console,
It's like
put
selling
some
a car to a
fucking
woman and
games on the
mentioning
damn thing.
fuel economy.
just put
Yeah,
some
yeah,
games
I mean-
on the thing. That's all they need to do.
Yeah, that's all.
I mean, look at Resident Evil 6. We all know impressive hardware doesn't sell games. Look at all the screen tearing. Come on.
That thing is
Come
just a
on.
fucking mess anyway.
I saw that shit in Gremlins, yo.
Oh, God.
What about Alpha? What are you doing? Are you pulling
Yeah,
one
what are-
off? Or?
I'm listening, and I've been nodding
He's nodding
a whole
in
lot.
agreement.
They can't see
He
a
just
nod.
sits going, uh-huh, yeah, he's right. That's my nigga right there, uh-huh.
Dude, it's really true though. The thing is, Nintendo Wii U is coming up really soon, and it seems like Nintendo just doesn't have their shit together, and that was plainly evident at E3. They just didn't have their shit together.
Do you ever get the idea that they have a price tag that they know no one's ever going to go for?
Dude, I really truly think that they're okay. This is just me theorizing here, everybody, but bear with me. I think that the price point they should come in at is $300.
I agree.
think that they want to come in at $400, and they know that they can't, and that's why they didn't say shit.
I'm thinking it's between 4 and 5, and they
Yeah, I think it might be higher than that.
Yeah, and
I can't imagine that fucking controller because okay, look at that hardware. Okay, what it's toting right now is pretty much what you expect is out right now. This isn't like pushing any kind of limits, so to speak. It's
True.
mainly that controller. That controller is what's setting them back a pretty penny, and
not
they
so much
dug
part
that
to
hole.
communicate.
But the thing is, I think they're scared to really set that price, but they should already be aware that they're going to take a hit anyway. They're never going to sell the console at a profit for a couple years. 99% of most consoles don't sell at a fucking profit, and they should already be happy that with the Wii, right from the get-go, they were selling at a profit from the fucking get-go.
Yeah.
So they should be happy with, the fucking 3 straight years that those things were selling out. Or 2 straight years, whatever it was.
Well, yeah,
oh,
it was
sorry,
a
go
Tickle
ahead.
Me Elmo situation, is what it was.
I mean, it was, and the thing is, the best way that I can put it is Nintendo grew fat off of the success of the Wii, and their entire fucking mindset, their entire business structure, and everything that they were doing shifted dramatically. And this isn't a 180. This is like teleporting into a different fucking dimension and adapting. they were like, okay, well, we were making a lot of money off of our loyal fan base, but all these jackasses who are talking about it on, talking about it on ABC and NBC.
Good Morning America.
Yeah, on the front covers of magazines, which you would never see a video game on ever. Fucking better fucking homes and shit is talking about. What? It's stuff like that. So that's their main fucking audience now. Okay, we cater to them. So they start catering to them, and you push away the core audience. The core audience is what sustained you for many, many fucking generations and many decades, and is still around. We're all fucking adults now. We've been supporting Nintendo, and now they're trying to usher us back in, and they're trying to do this without offering us much to really grab onto. It's like you got Pikmin 3, and what other AAA title are you throwing at us?
The whole thing comes off as kind of like, I'm sorry, I mean, you were right. I mean, you were always there, and then I got interested with New Pussy, and I miss you. So would you come back and buy my games again, please?
You can just imagine Reggie Fils-Aimé saying that.
But they're not even doing that. That's all they would have to say. They'd have
Come
to
on, come back. My body is ready.
Dude, you want to know what I hate about it? And I've heard Nintendo loyalists say this, and it blew my fucking mind. They were just like, what did you expect? What were you expecting at E3? What did you expect? I was pleasantly surprised. I was really happy with everything that they showed off. And all I could respond with is that for a company that you like so much, and I myself like a whole lot too, you set the bar real fucking low for a company that great.
I know.
Because the fact is I didn't...
Smooth.
Well, also, they set the bar so high.
Yeah, they set the bar really fucking high.
They want the NES days back. That's what they want.
Oh yeah,
They
and
want
that's
to have
okay.
that
If they want the
50%
NES
fucking market share that
Dude,
you have between them and Sega.
Yeah.
If they want the fucking NES days back, they want the Super Nintendo days back. You want to know what they had back in the NES days and the fucking Super Nintendo days? They had third-party lockdown like a motherfucker, and they had hardware that was up to standard at that point in time whenever it was released. The Super Nintendo was a fucking beast of a 16-bit machine, and when Nintendo came out, I mean, I'm sorry, but it was a pretty bitchin' fucking machine as far as hardware went by comparison to other things that was out. But they, most of all, even all hardware aside, because I had already said this, nobody gives a fuck about the hardware after a while. You care about the games. That's what they had. They had games out the fucking ass. Nobody's going to remember your fucking console for the specs that it has and the fucking numbers that it drops. They remember you for what games you have. And if you don't got games, nobody's going to show up to your fucking little party.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's pretty
the
much
fact of
nailed it for
Just ask-
Nintendo.
Yeah, just ask the Atari Jaguar if you don't believe us.
Yeah.
Jaguar.
The Jag. The
Ah.
Jag.
Yeah, the Jag. Yeah, gonna play some Jag.
God.
Playing some Jag.
Or,
Anyway,
or like we say here in Pittsburgh, Jag off. So
there you go. There you go. That goes off in New York too, and sometimes they call you a wanker if they really mean it.
Or a tosser.
Or a tosser.
Yeah, tosser, man. I don't get to hear that too often.
Well, there you go.
I
You
know.
just heard it.
Or in more dialect heavy regions they call it a spacca, but that's another story.
No, it's a difference. That means something.
I know what it means. If we don't have to, you know what? We've already got enough special interest groups pissed off at us. I think that's enough for one day.
Fuck them. I say we get more. We make a collection out of this shit.
We're collecting pissed off special interest groups.
We should have a Kickstarter for it.
I know we should. Hey, and you can give if everybody gave us $1, we'd have like $12.
Yeah.
We could go to In-N-Out Burger for that kind of.
Oh, hey, and
I know.
And that's if we all donate $1.
Exactly.
Well, maybe they should donate $1 to us for making this podcast.
And we'd still get more dollars than Deadpool sells comics.
There you go. See, we are ball in.
Zam.
So
wait, zing.
Zing.
Gotta always have a zing there.
Yeah, so this discussion is actually going to make my fucking head explode, so we got to move on. We're going to talk about, Razor Fist brought this up anyway, the Mirror's Edge sequel? What's the story with that one?
There's going to be a Mirror's Edge sequel.
Yay! Fucking how long?
They're at least saying that it's an inevitability, basically. They apparently they canceled it late last year because they had to switch over to the same Frostbite 2 engine that was used with so much aplomb in Battlefield 3. And so Frank Gibbo, yes, the same guy who last week said that that freaking premium services are an inevitability in gaming, he came out and said, yeah, it's just a matter of time, is what he said. When talking about Mirror, and I mean, yeah, I'm excited. I'm sure Alpha's excited, right? You played Mirror's Edge, right?
I played Mirror's Edge. I liked it a lot. I thought that it got a lot of more flack than it really deserved because it's an ambitious title, admittedly. I was skeptical of it before I got my hands on it, but I do like it. But here's the thing that I'm most skeptical of. Electronic Arts, of course. I don't trust a fucking word that dribbles out of their mouth and onto the fucking ground and like acid just burns right fucking through it until oxygen can't reach it. But ultimately, I do want to see a sequel. I just hope, and I was talking about this with Razor Fist. This is fucking truth. I really hope that they don't decide to just turn this into a big smorgasbord of bullshit. You know, it's first person. Let's just, I don't know, make multiplayer, make you pew pew pow pow bang bang, and turn into a fucking first person shooter clone of Battlefield, of Call of Duty, of everything that I'm sick of seeing.
I could so easily see it turning into a quick time event fest, couldn't you?
Oh yeah. Are you pressing X right now? You didn't press X. You go back to the checkpoint. You didn't hit it in time.
Yeah,
but you look at me. Just. I just have to chime in with the whole quick time events thing. They did have quick time events in the first game, but they weren't thrown at you. Like, here's a quick time event, and it lands on your fucking head like a fucking 100-ton weight. It was implemented properly. Now, if they keep with the same formula and just give us the story, I think this one will be good. And with it being on a Frostbite 2 engine, I don't know, it looked good. You know, the last game looked really good, so...
Yeah, it did. It did. I mean, I think that's why we need to temper our enthusiasm. Because, I think I want a sequel to Mirror's Edge. But by the same token, I thought I wanted a trilogy for Mass Effect. But by the time that was over, they'd beaten that horse to death 7 fucking times over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Mirror's Edge wasn't... I mean, for that matter, Mirror's Edge wasn't perfect the first time around. That game's plot was so unoriginal. It was so freaking derivative.
It was predictable.
Yeah, but it was really more about the experience. You know, games like that, a plot is fucking like third or fourth down the fucking laundry list of to do.
I agree, but it's a primarily single player game, so the plot has to hold up more than in a Battlefield 3 situation. You know what I mean? I mean, that's the thing. If they're going to dilute the original, can you get any more heavily diluted than the first one? I mean, how do you water down water? Is what I'm saying.
Dehydrated water, maybe.
If anyone could water down water, it would be Electronic Arts. As far as
and then it would be on Steam.
Yeah.
Oh.
They just boil it away.
Exactly.
But no, I'm excited about this potentially coming out. And I will say potentially because, I mean, this is a company that you really shouldn't trust because, I mean, they force fucking slave labor. So I can't trust a company that does that and does all the little shitty things that they do. So I'm hoping it comes out. I'm hoping it's not fucking rubbish. And yeah, that's really about it. I don't know. I hope it doesn't suck.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
So,
Pretty much,
EA,
yeah. As a matter of fact,
I think you can say that about any game. You hope it doesn't suck.
No, there are some games I want to see suck really fucking bad. I won't even start naming them because then I'll just get a big fucking thing of shit and fucking comments of, Alpha, how dare you say that? Because I'm looking for... And I don't fucking give a damn because I have a big fucking list of things I hate and want to see dying on fire, and I'm going to shit on them to put them out, and that's going to fucking smell funky.
I give a negative amount of dams.
Yeah, exactly. Look at this endless empty field of fuck I give. Look at it. Look at all of its fucking bountiful glory of nothingness.
Oh my god, I'm going to steal that.
Absolutely.
Fucking
I have no
thief.
problem with that.
Thief.
Hey, at least he says that he's going to do it.
We're going to work out a licensing deal. Don't worry. I'm going to pay him for it. But
Yeah, and we got to get it on a shirt at some point.
Yell Chaos is the Carlos Mencia of video game reviewers.
He's not even a reviewer.
I know, right? I'm just some prick. Anyway, well, that's...
But there is one thing I want to say about Mirror's Edge that I did like. It penalised you for using guns.
Yeah, it did. That was cool.
What?
It was kind of thievish that
Yeah.
way.
Penalised you for using guns.
Interesting.
Yeah. So what else, Gale Chaos? Do your job.
Crack the whip. Crack the
Hey,
whip.
wait a minute. Fuck you! Now
Oh,
that we've got
get
that
on
out of
with
the
it.
way, there's something that's been going on, and we've been talking about it in the podcast. And you know who really just delivered it? I think the best was Razor Fist. But something that Saint and Magnus and I were talking about before the podcast, a couple of days ago, actually, we were talking about how the game industry, the game scene that we have. Amongst gamers and what systems we use and the technology and so on, this has become an arms race to where they wonder why games are no longer profitable. Just the game budgets are skyrocketing
Yeah.
and pretty much to no avail. And I find it funny that we have these more advanced consoles, these better computers, and they're so advanced that they play the fucking game for you. What kind of fun is that?
Exactly.
I was sitting with my little brother, and I'd never sat with him to watch him play games before, and he was playing Call of Duty, and he was playing something, and with it's part of the campaign. Apparently, that still has campaigns. I didn't know that.
Really?
And he's going against some it's sand area or something, and he gets shot full of holes, and everything is red, and he's dying. So he goes and hides behind a crate, and a few seconds later, he's all better again.
Yeah. It's magical strawberry jam that he smears all over his face.
No, because if you want to get healthy, you go find a white box with a red cross on it.
Exactly.
But that's what we're going to talk about right now. Is that this has to stop because you're going to reach a natural plateau with this technology. You can only go so far. You cannot be better than reality.
Yeah, I mean, is anybody going to argue that? I think I would like to put forward the argument that we have already reached that plateau.
Yeah.
Because if you just looking back, like when I was putting my Commando review together, or the beginning of it together, I was looking for Todd Howard footage to see, where he lies out his ass, because that'll happen fairly frequently with Todd Howard.
That's not hard to come by.
Yeah. And for those who are uninitiated, he's the guy who does Elder Scrolls, Skyrim, Oblivion, all that fun stuff, and or marginally fun stuff. And he's given interviews about stuff. I'm watching. There's such a disparity in terms of his enthusiasm. I'm watching interviews from after Morrowind and before Oblivion, and he's so optimistic about the technology and how they can render so many more objects, and they have such huge draw distances, and he thinks in the future that this is going to be able to happen, and this is going to be able to happen. They can have fully voiced characters and all this. Then you fast forward to after Skyrim. He looks depressed. He looks haggard. And he's like, I don't think technology is the way forward. I think we've reached the limit of what we can do. And like, his soul has just gotten up and excused itself and left the fucking room. You know what I mean? That right there is a perfect microcosm of the industry as a whole right now. I think all developers have a certain level of that kind of malaise,
That's true.
But realistically, where can we go from here? And that's what putting all these, development studios out of business. You can't afford, to pay the people that is required to make a game to, even compete.
Yeah, well, because you got these huge corporations now that have a strangle. You can't make a smaller market game now because production values have to meet a certain standard. And in order to get those production values, you have to spend a lot of money, millions of dollars up front to get the adequate tech to make it happen. So right out of the gate,
paying fucking licensing fees to use the technology.
Exactly, licensing fees for the engines and every other fucking thing. So it's like right out of the gate, the small market dead, completely dead in the water. You're going to get a few indie PC titles because it's much more inexpensive to just produce a PC title than to produce a proper console game nowadays that meets a AAA standard. So it's like you basically end up with Bobby Kotick and John Riccitello, who, really at this point, they're just so freaking wealthy and so freaking powerful. I mean, I mentioned it to my editor the other day. Bobby Kotick is basically a monocle and a Persian cat away from being a Bond villain at this point. All he needs is a laser on the fucking moon, because he can basically have anybody assassinated anytime he wants. He runs, and now he's doing it with Coca-Cola. So hooray! Now you get to drink his idiocy.
Here's one thing I'll actually want to go and chime in with. Just because other certain fucking games succeed with multiplayer and whatnot does not mean that you have to suddenly change the dynamics of a game franchise to go and meet, oh, well, everybody likes multiplayer. Well, we're going to have it too because people like that kind of stuff. And it's just, when you have forced multiplayer all the time for the sake of just having multiplayer, it's fucking retarded. You don't need it unless it's absolutely necessary and built from the motherfucking ground up to actually, utilize it.
No, that's exactly right.
I just want to chime in with that.
Well, that's the thing. They seem to be slapping multiplayer onto everything nowadays. It's like we were talking about it before with the Tekken cabs. Multiplayer nowadays just seems so slapped on. It seems to be the focus point for everything else, and nothing else is developed to the standard that it should be. Case in point was Battlefield 3. Multiplayer, fantastic, great fun. You play the story mode, you are in for a shock. It's
an afterthought.
It's a complete contrast to what gaming's all about.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Well, it's literally thrown in there. Like I said, on the 360 version, the first disc is the multiplayer.
Yeah.
I mean,
Notice that.
says
Notice
all
that
you need to
statement
know.
there. First disc.
That's all you need to know, really. First disc multiplayer, second disc campaign. That's a total afterthought.
Here, how about this? This one's also a little bit annoying whenever you see it. The Nintendo Super Guide. I know that you were talking about the regenerating health thing, but whenever you can just have the game tell you exactly what to do, or do you just want to skip this? Okay, do you want to skip this too? All right, want to skip this? Cool. Why the fuck are you playing a game if you can just skip everything? There's
Yeah.
Oh, what now?
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Alpha? I think we may have lost Alpha.
Alpha's here.
No, I'm here.
What
All
happened?
right, well that's great. Yeah, so that's a bunch of bullshit. But
What happened there?
I don't know.
Did your mic cut out? Did you have an aneurysm? What?
No.
I think his
Did
brain
you have a
farted.
fart attack?
Okay, we didn't hear the end of your little rant, I think, is what happened.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Cut out.
I
Damn
apologize for not
technology.
hearing my entire wordage thingy-majig.
Yeah.
Weird.
Okay, yeah, basically, Nintendo Super Guide, it fucking sucks.
There you go. There you go. But
It's like
where
all
will this
these-
technology ultimately take us? It seems like the only thing this new technology is going to be used on is for spying on you.
Well, they've already got that nailed down with the Kinect and the PlayStation
Exactly. And
camera.
oh, absolutely. And I cannot believe that this is where we've come.
The Kinect can see you in 3D, so it can see, everything. Everything.
You fap.
Yeah, but just actually thinking about it now.
Yeah.
The PlayStation Vita and the 3DS, they've got cameras on the front. Could they be watching us as we're playing?
Oh, I'm sure they are.
Ooh.
I'm sure they are. So, in the end, it seems that, gaming is what's pricing gaming out of the market.
Yeah.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
And I have no sympathy for these people. It's interesting because Sainted Magnus and I were having a discussion again, and we were talking about, because everyone's talking about this impending crash. Oh, there's going to be another gaming crash, and I don't think you really understand what you mean, because the first two crashes, well, it goes to show crashes only seem to be brought on when the corporations get involved.
Yeah.
But you look at the crash of '83, that was not, what we have today. That was a bunch of guys who started in a garage and then eventually opened an office, and they made some wrong moves because they're not money people, and, plus they didn't take the necessary precautions, and, you learn from that. And this is something completely different. This is huge multinational corporations who, are, who knows what course of action they'll take. But this is not going to, round out the same way that the last one did.
Oh, yeah, if they go down, they're taking us with them. They're pissed.
Not just
You know
that,
what I mean?
this is millions and billions of dollars we're talking about, whereas back in the day, the industry wasn't booming like it is nowadays. This is,
And that's the
I mean,
thing that's so
a
funny
game
is
changer.
well, that's the thing so funny is that these are money people, and how did they not know that a boom eventually plateaus?
Yeah.
You know, it cannot continue to expand over and over, year, week over week, so on and so forth. It doesn't work that way. No school of economics will tell you that there is ultimately a glass ceiling. You're going to hit a point where it's just going to stop.
Yep.
And I don't understand how they don't understand this premise.
Well, they just seem to think we've got millions and millions of dollars and millions of pounds in the bank, and we can buy all these fucking games at $60 a time, and all
But
these
also, don't
consoles at
forget-
$400 a time. Well, what?
Also, don't forget, this is not a niche genre of entertainment anymore. These are
Yeah.
major players, and so now they're now competing with TV and with the movies and with music. You know, they're one of the front runners, and they're competing now. And you realize that if you had a product worth buying, people would buy it.
But
Yep.
they don't seem to realize that. If you know what,
No,
these companies
I'm
need to
sure
give
they
us
do.
fucking money, give us fucking time, and give us fucking power to actually fix this problem that they seem to be making worse.
Oh yeah, but they're not interested in that. You know,
No, they're not interested in the opinions of real gamers. All they want is a percentage
That's
of
the
what's
American way,
fucking
you know.
earned.
Well, the other thing that's worse about that is to think about the developers who will slave away on a really good idea and can't get it out the door because there isn't a publisher willing to fork out the hundreds of thousands of dollars that's going to be needed to really put this game out there. So we as gamers are going to be missing out, and they're just like, well, how can I go and maintain a job? Well, I guess I'll just make what sells right now. And that's really it. It just keeps happening that way over and over again. So, I mean, maybe a crash would actually help. And that's kind of sad to say, but it might.
Oh, sure. Well, what's funny is it's not going to happen the way you think it would happen. Just everyone gets fucked and then the industry's down for a few years. The way I look at it, and maybe, you know, maybe I'm wrong, but I think that, you know, these companies would just naturally recede back into doing something else.
Well,
You know.
I think the second video game crash, the '83 one, was, I think people have a false perception of what it was. They think that overnight every video game company went out of business, and that isn't true. It
No.
looked a lot like what's happening now, where
Mhm.
companies are closing offices and condensing their business model and getting smaller.
Well, that's
And
exactly
focusing
what's
on-
happening.
Exactly, and focusing on budget titles and things like that. That was what happened. And then it took Nintendo, who obviously remained, coming out with the NES basically to turn that around. But it wasn't quite as dramatic as people painted out. The video game crash that we're talking about, by some economist definitions, is already happening now.
Mhm.
So, anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, you can ignore it if you want to, but you know, the better aspect is I want to know, what is this emotional attachment that most, I know we're getting off topic, we were talking about technology, but just the way people adhere to said technology. You know, you base your entire argument on tech specs.
Yeah, they
And
do.
people that
It's fanboyism, man. I mean, it's going to be anything. Marvel versus DC, Apple versus Microsoft.
It's factoidism.
You know, it's going to be
Sony
something.
versus the world.
Yeah, everybody measures their fucking dicks based off of something that they support or something that they own or something that just piques their interest. And the thing is, at the end of the day, they feel like they're suddenly special because they play their games primarily on an Xbox 360 or on a PS3, or if they play only PC games. You're not fucking special because you do that. And just because you found other assholes that share that same sentiment, they're not special either. You're all fucking idiots if you think that. Just enjoy the games for what the fuck they are.
And
games.
if I hear somebody say, "Oh, Xbox has got better exclusives," or "Fucking PlayStation 3's got no games," or "Nintendo's got the most ingenious fucking controllers," look in the mirror, and I dare you to call yourself a gamer. A gamer, in a traditional sense, will play any game, and if he doesn't like it, he doesn't like it. If he likes it, he likes it. He'll try it. or she will try it. Get the sexism out of the way. You know.
Yeah.
That
I thought
you're not
a gamer was.
You're not a gamer. A gamer tries everything and
Not
works out what they
everything.
want.
Come on now. You can look at something and determine that you don't like it. If you've developed any kind of bad game radar,
Well, yeah,
you
I've got a
can-
bad game.
you can
radar.
determine. I mean, I could take one look at, fucking Fracture. I could watch 5 seconds of gameplay from that piece of shit and know, wow, okay, I'm not going near that with a 10-foot pole.
I
You know what I
know.
mean?
Gee,
So-
I thought a gamer was, some slightly pretty girl with a controller who can't get a modeling contract.
Yeah, who conveniently places Xbox 360 controllers in front of her slatch. That's a gamer, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
and
that's-
then after she does that, she then says, I really hate when guys just ask for me to show them my tits online. And it's like, you don't say. Well, maybe if your fucking your picture didn't have tits and a controller there, people might not be asking that so much.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
Silly
in
boy,
conclusion,
don't
you're a
get
stupid cunt.
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm glad we got that out of the way, but you know what? We're coming to the end of the show. I know it's a sad occasion when we get towards the end of the show. You've heard us banter around and bitch and complain for however long, and you can't wait until we do it again next week. So we hope you tune in next week.
Oh, hey, and this one's longer too. See, this one
I know.
isn't as short as the last episode, so you can't complain, huh?
I know we made up for it. I think we did pretty good. But you know what? It's time. It's time. It's here. It's time for your favorite part, my favorite part, the rant. And the rant
Yay.
today is being brought to you by, well, yours truly. Because I'm a little upset and I'm going to be all over the place. And then the other guys, we're just going to be all over the place because I got some genuine rage here. And I don't even know where to send it. So here comes some rage. Rant.
Get on with
Rant.
it, lad.
I know, right? I've been being a grouchy old man all week.
You are
Because
a grouchy old man.
I've had something shoved in my face over the last couple of months. And I've noticed this. Everything sucks.
Yeah.
Everything sucks, down to video games, movies, television. I went shopping for some shoes. Shoes are made out of fucking paper now. What I'm really trying to get at is we have. Okay, this is going to sound like just the lunatic rantings and ravings of a madman, but that's kind of the idea. We seem to be entrenched in a culture that is hell bent on reminding itself how good it once was.
Yeah.
That's why you'll see the terms retro come up in all sorts of pop culture reference. Oh, that's retro, and things are retro, and what they're trying to say is, hey, you remember before everything was oversaturated and shitty?
Yeah.
Well, it's just like that, but it isn't. And what I'm really talking about is, the overuses of retro and the overusage because we can't come up with new things anymore. So we just, we rehash. And one example that has really brings my piss to a boil, and everyone says I'm overreacting. You'll probably say the same, but this Wreck-It Ralph movie coming from Walt Disney Pictures, it stars John C. Reilly, who I fucking had it with. It also includes Jane Lynch, who I fucking had it with back in the 90s. There's all these game cameos and all this stuff that's supposed to be really cute. And, I'm a gamer. As I get, then you'll know that this is a slap in your face. This is Disney whitewashing what was once, something that was yours. Genuinely yours. And it's been taken away. Guys, I sound like Rush Limbaugh now, don't I?
Yeah.
This is your freedoms. And,
At least in a good way.
Yeah.
I know, right? But, Rush Limbaugh in a good way.
You're not hooked on OxyContin, are you?
No comment. Anyway. I fucking had it with this.
We'll take that as a yes.
Well, define hooked. Anyway.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely did.
everything fucking sucked, and I personally have had it. So all the creative people in the world, you need to buy an Ouya and make a unique game. I don't know. What I do know is that everything sucks, and
Enough is enough, and it's
No.
time for a change. Woo! Woo!
ah. And I'm Yell Chaos, and I'm running for president.
Oh shit! God no.
Yes.
I'm not old enough to be president, but Razor Fist, doesn't everything suck?
Yes.
Yeah, it sure does. It sure does.
I'll just answer the question for everybody. Yes, it fucking does. It's like,
Yeah.
like you were saying before, you were going out looking for a backpack, and the backpack was made out of
Yeah.
fucking tracing paper.
Yeah, everything is awful. Everyone is so happy to remind themselves of how great culture used to be. No matter what country you come from. Oh yeah, well things were so much greater back then, but you're obsessed with it. You think you might learn from something that happened a long time ago. When people cared.
I know, it's like we're going out buying games nowadays. The game boxes will get the like fucking cheese graters with holes in them. How's that supposed to fucking protect our games? We want to find out what a certain button does in the game without having to go all the way through the fucking miles and miles and miles of fucking options that seem to be included in all these fucking games just to find out what the X button does.
Oh, but we can't have a strategy guide, or not a strategy guide, but a game guide, whatever, game manual. We can't have that in there because think of the trees and global warming and Al Gore and all that
We've been
fun
cutting
stuff.
trees down for fucking thousands and thousands and thousands of fucking years. Half of those fucking trees are built into houses, and those houses are still fucking standing in the UK today.
Dude, we specifically grow certain types of trees just for paper now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the fuck are they on about? What the fuck are these Greenpeace fucking tree-hugging titwanks on about? Save the trees! Fuck,
wow.
Mate. There's recycling.
Tree-hugging titwanks.
I know.
I think that may be my
Everybody write that down. That's going on the next Hate-Bit podcast t-shirt.
Right, it's on the Hate-Bit podcast t-shirt.
We could use it for the title, just tree-hugging titwanks.
Yeah, just a picture of Rachel Maddow with her face crossed out. And then just tree-hugging titwanks.
Oh.
Now that's money right there.
Just imagine Hannah Minks hugging a tree.
I know, right? Anyway,
I'd like the idea of Hannah Minks hugging anything associated with my lower body.
I'll tell you what, cut her head off. We should be all right.
No, I need her head there. There's certain things.
Well, at least put a bag over it.
Yeah. And cut a hole in it.
Yes.
Anyway.
Oh, I tell you what, if you want to cut a hole in anything, why don't you drape the American flag over your head and cut a hole in it with a fucking bullet, bitch?
Hey-oh.
God, she drives me up the wall. You like how Konnichiwa is apparently one word?
Yeah.
You know what? When are we going to get our own show on Fox News?
I know.
I know, right?
And today on Fox News, we hate fucking everything.
Yeah, you know.
So says the token British guy.
Anyway, it happened. You guys wasted another great big chunk of your life listening to the Hate-Bit podcast. We thank you for joining us. If you have any questions of any kind, please drop us, down below in the inbox, Facebook, or hatebitpodcast@gmail.com. I'm Yo Chaos, and with me as always was Razorfist.
Remember, folks, Yoshinori Ono may be at death's door, but only your repeated satanic sacrifices can ensure that door is eventually open. God fucking speed.
Sainted Magnus.
I have nothing to say to close, so I'll just say this. I've been Sainted Magnus. Thank you very much for watching. Oh, I'm fucking glistening. I'm going crazy.
Alpha Omega Sin.
Plastic bags aren't a good substitute for condoms. And if the worst case scenario, use the stairs.
What? There you go. And since he couldn't be with us on air, but we thank you for stopping by anyway, Mr. Hank Hill.
Thank you. I tell you what.
Oh.
Hate-Bit Podcast.